A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
You? Is anybody?
There's Molly, folks. That means your friends, the Goldbergs, are here. Brought to you by Does, the new kind of soap for everything in your wash. First, let's drop in on the Dozen family. Well, that flutterhead Cousin Dozen has a job delivering telegrams. She's just finished her first day's work, and Pa Dozen's asking her all about it. Listen.
Who'd you deliver your first telegram to?
Mrs. Donahue. We had the nicest chat about Does.
Does?
Yeah, she didn't know it's a new kind of soap for everything in the wash. I told her does work shirts, towels, to her pretty rayon panties.
You were supposed to deliver telegrams.
Well, we only talked about an hour.
An hour?
Well, then I had to take a telegram out to Mrs. Topplewaite's, and on the way I stopped to see Mrs. Blodgett.
Oh.
Poor dear. Found her scrubbing away on her husband's overalls. You know, he gets them terrible dirty in that war plant. So I told her to dust them and stop that hard scrubbing. Why, no soap made can do them better or easier than Does.
What about Mrs. Topplewaite's telegram?
It wasn't important, Pa. I read it.
No.
Yes, it said, Mayor Wilson accepts invitation for weekend. So I just told her maid to dust the linens and towels. Even the mayor would be impressed at how Daz and White does get them. Ma says it's the whitest white any soap can turn out.
But
So when I got back to the telegraph office, they said they were giving me a blue slip.
That means you're fired.
Does it? Well, I just told them I always wash my nicest slips in Does. It's safer for such delicate colors. And that telegram man said the silliest thing.
What?
He said if he had to choose between me and Does, he'd rather have Does delivering his telegrams. Imagine.
Well, Cousin Dozen does everything, you know. In the wash, anyway. It's the only leading granulated wash day soap to give longer life to colors, plus unsurpassed whiteness and real cleaning power for the dirtiest wartime work clothes. Does more on wash day. Why, ladies, does everything. And now, the Goldbergs. In a way, Molly Goldberg has brought up her reserves in an effort to break through to the truth which lies behind the pressure Anne Franklin is putting on David's daughter. Florence, you know, is divorcing her husband, and it's her friend Anne who is encouraging the break. Molly suspects Anne's motives, although we know that there is another woman in the case. For it's this other woman who caused the split in Florence's marriage. Unable to accomplish anything directly, Molly called on Dr. Cater, Jr., a brilliant young psychiatrist who is home on leave from the Army. Dr. Cater is having dinner with the Goldbergs and Anne. Listen.
Ma, aren't you going to have your dessert?
I am, darling, I am. Well, how was everything? How was the dinner?
Wonderful, Ma.
He's talking to her now?
Everybody's talking to everybody.
I mean, Dr. Cater, he's talking to Anne.
He's making everybody else talk. That's his business. Don't you know, Ma, that a psychiatrist makes everybody else talk? That's how they find out what they want to know.
Oh, Philip, please, I told you before, don't mention psychiatrists in psychology. Anne mustn't find out and Florence mustn't know. The Dr. Cater's here to find out what he can find out to save their marriage.
I know. I just hope that Papa doesn't say anything, though.
He is?
Oh, not yet.
Rosalie, can you very gently tell Dr. Cater I want him here for one moment in my kitchen?
For what, Ma?
I want him. I wish him, please.
All right, I will.
Gently and smartly, please. Yes, Jay?
Coming hither?
I don't. What did you say?
Aren't you coming hither?
I will, dear. I will. I'm just fixing something. If you have no occupation, dear, maybe you will come hither. Dr. Cater? Dr. Cater?
Yes, Mrs. Goldberg?
Dr. Cater, I didn't have a chance when you came in to say a few words to you privately.
Oh, yes,
I think maybe I have something that you should know, Doctor. It will be very helpful. Just a few words. I found out yesterday. Anne Franklin had a sweetheart also in college. And he was a writer. Books. Books, I think so, yes. And also Eugene, Florence's husband, wanted to be a writer, but he's a businessman. He's not a writer. And they was all in college together. Not Florence. Eugene met Florence after college.
I see.
Doctor, is something visible yet?
Well, nothing to make a speech about.
Well, not to make a speech about. Doctor, if maybe I would see that you and Anne was left alone on the table, I mean together maybe.
Yes, that always helps.
Well, then will you tell Mr. Goldberg I wish him a moment, please, Dr. Kate?
Now, don't be too obvious. Anne is too smart for
well,
that.
I'll try not, Doctor. More tea.
And some more of that wonderful cake, Mrs. Goldberg.
Yes, Dr. Kate, I'll be directly with the cake. Well, Ma? There's no bell yet, Rosalie. Please, be careful. Be careful what you're doing. Don't burn yourself with the tea.
Oh.
Spill scent first. Then the water.
Well, where's the tea, Ma?
There's the tea. There's the tea. The first time you're making the tea is standing where it stands all the time on the shelf. Please.
And cake for Dr. Kate.
Yes, all right.
Me, Molly?
Yes, I want you. So go, Rosalie, please. I'll bring in the cake.
All right.
But don't go with 2 hands. Go with 1 hand.
All right, Ma.
What is it, Molly?
I told you, Jake. I told you when the dessert was served, I wanted Dr. Kate and Anne to be on the table alone.
Florence? Florence, I think I hear Paul is calling. The child is calling you.
I don't hear.
It's all right. Paul is up, and if Florence goes upstairs, she'll have to read a story to him, the visits of something she reads to him every night. So Florence will be not on the table, so there'll be 1 less on the table. Don't you understand, Jake?
Well, I don't hear Paul calling Florence.
I heard.
Dr. Kate wants his cake.
I'm coming. So, Jake, darling, go for logs for the fire. Yes, dear?
What is this, a kindergarten?
Rosalie, look where your napkin is.
In my belt.
So come in the belt. Take all the napkins and the bells and
No,
the
I don't
belts
know
and the
where to put
napkins. Please, Dr. Kate, here's your cake, Doctor.
If I knew how to bake, Mrs. Goldberg, I'd ask for the recipe. This is the best cake I've ever eaten.
Thank you.
How are you on baking, Miss Franklin?
Never baked a thing in my life.
Oh. Cook either?
No?
I can give you the recipe. I have it, and your cook can bake it.
Oh, thanks. That'll be
I
great.
have it someplace. Where's
He
David?
went upstairs with Florence.
Rosalie, you know where my recipe book is.
No, I don't, Ma.
You had it, Rosalie. You was baking biscuits.
I never made biscuits, Ma.
When you went on the Girl Scouts picnic.
Don't bother.
Where's the butter? And come help me. Jake, maybe you'll make the fireplace? The logs are in the cellar, dear.
Yes, dear.
Excuse me.
I'll help you with the dishes, Mrs. Goldberg.
Don't bother, Anna. I'm sure Florence will want another cup of coffee, and David also. Come, Rosalie. I'll find the recipe, and then I'll swallow a cup also. Don't be bashful, Dr. Kate. I have plenty of cake.
No, thanks.
The vase she has to read to him now.
The visitor what? So, David, darling, if Florence has to read the visitor what? So take up Florence's coffee, and she'll drink, and while she's reading to Paul.
Oh, she'll come down in a minute.
And your coffee is cold. I'll make you hot.
Excuse me. I'll get the logs so they can all be hot. Yes. I'll help you, Jake.
Excuse me.
Not
Excuse me. Anything you wish? Call me.
Yes, Mrs. Goldberg. Just a minute, Miss Franklin. Don't abandon me. Where are you going?
I just want to see if my friend's having her hands full.
Oh, with her little boy?
Yes.
Oh, please don't believe me. You're a friend in a million, but be my friend for tonight. Talk to me. I feel very lonely, sitting by myself, eating cake.
But the Goldbergs.
Oh, yes. Yes, they're friends, but not to talk to. One just sits about and feels domestic, tranquil, countrified with them. It's a change from the strenuous emotions of my job.
What is your job?
A military secret. What's yours?
Oh, I'm just the private secretary to Mr. Cronin.
Mrs. Cronin's husband?
Yes.
Oh, that's pleasant. You, vacationing out here with Mrs. Cronin?
Far from it.
Hmm.
Florence is waiting to move into her new house. She's divorcing her husband.
Hmm.
What's that supposed to mean?
A cake. Delicious. You know, I'm opposed to divorces.
Are you?
Mm-hmm. A man who wants to divorce one woman to marry another will probably leave the second one twice as soon as he left the first. Gets to be a vicious habit.
Well, that's not the case here. But, I don't agree with you. I mean, generally.
No woman would. Women usually have a very high opinion of their own particular worth and a very low opinion of every other woman in the world when it comes to love.
You sound like an expert.
Oh, I am an expert. when it comes to love. I wouldn't trust a man who didn't stick by his first choice. Mrs. Cronin seems like a charming woman.
She is.
Oh, well, then why...
Depends on whom she's supposed to charm. Perhaps her husband doesn't...
Tell me something, Miss Franklin. Or may I call you Anne?
Anne will do.
Just for example, I mean, well, you're single. Would you marry a man, just as an example, a man who couldn't make a success out of his first marriage? Would you? I mean, not generally, particularly. Yes, you see? You hesitate.
Not at all. If I loved a man, why, of course I...
Oh, you would?
Why not? Is it wrong?
Wrong? No, not wrong. Just foolish. Why, you see this piece of cake?
Yes.
Well, I can't eat it and have it, too.
Naturally.
And the same is true of a woman who marries a divorced man.
How?
She wants a man all for herself, although she knows the best part of his life belongs in someone else's heart.
And if the man wants to forget his first wife?
Merely means that his second wife never will. When she stands at her new husband's side, not 2, but 3 shadows will fall before them. And the middle one will be the woman who will always remain as the visible symbol of the husband's failure in marriage. It's the worst kind of rival, the ghost.
I don't believe it.
Well, fortunately, you won't have to test your opinion. Or
what?
Will you have another piece of cake?
Well, Cater is stirring up the muddy waters as best he can. But just what does he hope to learn through casual conversation that others haven't learned through many years of friendship? What is Anne's secret? You know, sometimes it's hard to understand even those who are very close to us. Daisy Dozen's boyfriend, Donald, has discovered that. He said...
I can't understand Daisy. Whenever I talk about getting married, she talks about does. Yesterday she said, Donald, we won't wash dishes in our dream house. We'll give them their daily dozen.
Well, Daisy knows that besides doing everything in the wash, Does has everything for dishes, too. Why, this new kind of soap makes suds that stand up till the last dish is done. Cuts grease like 60, yet it's kinder to hands than any other leading granulated wash day soap. Why, Does suds stand up so you don't have to keep adding soap. Does cuts grease without hard scouring, too, yet it leaves hands wonderfully smooth. Try Does. It has everything for dishes. Now, if your dealer's out of Does, he'll have more soon. Meantime, be saving of Does. You know, soap contains vital war materials, so don't wash a few dishes. Wait till there's a pan full. See that every bit of Does you use does more. Be sure to listen to the next episode of The Goldbergs, written for you by Gertrude Berg. Molly's hopes rise high, and Cater suddenly finds a real clue. This is Clayton Collier speaking and reminding you to do as the dozens do. Let Does, the new kind of soap, do everything in your wash.
This is Walter O'Keefe, inviting you to listen in on the Nightline. Tonight, live the incredible life of ages yet to come, in a time that might be 1,000,000 years from now, on X-1. Now, an incredible story of the world beyond.
Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, Skulking Permit, by Robert Sheckley. But first, hear this. Pick up some Pabst Blue Ribbon. Take it home, chill it, then put it to this test. Have a glass of Pabst with your meals for the next several days. You'll find Pabst Blue Ribbon makes most everything taste better, that it adds zest and sparkle to any meal. Try it. The bright, modern taste of Pabst Blue Ribbon is good any time and wonderful with meals. Pabst is the name. Made by Pabst Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, X-1 and Skulking Permit by Robert Sheckley.
August 16th, year 2204. 2, Central Colonial Administrative Authority, Alpha Centauri Sector. From Colonial Contact Inspector 37. Subject, Lost Colony on Planet New Delaware. First contact established in 200 years. And proceeding on overdrive for personal investigation.
Billy Painter, I thought I told you to consult me.
Take it easy, Mayor. I put the sign up. No aliens allowed within city limits. What's an alien?
Never mind. Look at the church. You painted it wrong.
Now, look. Here, I painted that church with a nice bright red. Now, what's wrong with that?
I looked it up. It's a little red schoolhouse, not church house. Churches are supposed to be white.
Oh, I got along fine enough in New Delaware for 200 years without either of them.
Yes, I know, but we need them now, and we haven't got much time.
Hey, when do I get a police chief badge? I read that the police chief always gets a badge.
Make yourself one. Now, go on.
All right, then.
Oh, it sure is hot. I don't know why the inspector couldn't have come in the wintertime. Oh, Tom Fisher.
Yeah?
Come here, Tom. I've got a job for you.
Well, now, look, Mayor, I'm on vacation. The fish won't be back in these waters.
No vacation, not now. The inspectors do any day. Tom, how would you like to be a criminal?
Well, I don't know. What's a criminal?
Well, come over to my house and I'll explain. I've got to appoint a criminal. And it looks to me like you're it.
New Delaware. Do you hear me, New Delaware? Come in immediately.
Yes. We hear you.
This is Colonial Inspector 37. You of New Delaware are still a colony of Earth and subject to our laws. Do you acknowledge that status?
Oh, yes. Yes, we called a town meeting last night and we talked it all over. We're still loyal to Earth.
Excellent. That saves us the trouble of sending an expeditionary force to reconquer you for Imperial Earth.
Imperial? Oh, that's funny. All the books talk about Earth as a united democracy.
A lot can change in 200 years.
You realize, of course, there is room for only one intelligent species in the universe, man. All others must be suppressed, wiped out. We can tolerate no aliens. I'm sure you understand, General.
I'm not a general. I'm a mayor.
You're in charge, aren't you?
Yes.
Then you're a general. Be sure you're running an Earth colony, General, with no radical departures from the norm, such as free will, free love, free elections, or anything else on the prescribed list. Get your colony in order, General.
Yeah. You see how it is, Tom? Now, about your job, Tom, I'm appointing you town criminal.
Well, I don't see why there has to be a criminal.
All the books say so. The criminal is as important as the postman or the police chief. He works against society. If you don't have people working against society, how can you have people working for it?
I don't want to do it.
Oh, now be reasonable, Tom. When this inspector comes, how can I hold my head up and tell him we don't have any crime? Don't you see that? Right there, the whole thing falls through. He'll see that we're not truly Earth-like. We're faking it. We're aliens. And you heard what he said about being rough on aliens.
Well, yeah. But why me? Now, I'm supposed to have vacation now that the fishing season's over.
Never mind. You're our criminal. Here, I've got this paper all made out for you just to make it legal.
Skulking permit.
Know all men with these presents that Tom Fisher is a duly authorized thief and murderer. He is hereby required to skulk in dismal alleys, haunt places of low repute, and break the law.
What's law?
Well, I'll let you know as fast as I make them up. All Earth colonies have law.
But what do we do?
Well, you steal and kill. Look, I'll give you a couple of books on it, Tom. Steal as much as you like. One murder should be enough. Don't overdo it.
Well, that doesn't sound sensible.
Well, you can work up to it. Why don't you start off easy-like by haunting a place of low repute?
You're listening to Skulking Permit, tonight's attraction on X-1. Careful planning and sensible driving add up to an enjoyable vacation trip. Here are a few tips from the National Safety Council that should help make your trip a pleasure instead of a tense, nerve-wracking time. Before you leave, have the car given a thorough checkup to be sure it will always respond properly to your careful control. Check the emergency equipment you'll need, such as a first aid kit, keys, permits, identification, flashlight, tire-changing equipment, and your unexpired driver's license. Plan your trip for frequent rest stops with a good night's sleep each night. And then, on your trip, pay attention to the job at hand and don't daydream. Stop off the road to see the sights or read the map. Be prepared for winding and straight roads, level and hilly roads, and changing traffic patterns between urban and rural areas. Obey all speed limits, traffic signs, and signals, and keep your distance behind the driver ahead. This vacation is what you've been waiting for all year. Enjoy it with sensible driving. Now, back to Skulking Permit on X-1.
Nice filling.
Hey, how come you ain't out thieving now, Tom?
Well, I'm planning. My permit says I have to haunt places of low repute, and that's why I'm here.
Oh, this ain't no place of low repute.
Well, you serve the worst meals in town.
Oh, I know. My wife can't cook, but there's a friendly atmosphere here. Folks like it.
Tom, now, just a minute there.
Oh, hi, Billy. What do you have?
I'm on official police business. Now, Tom, what are you doing with that beer?
Drinking it.
Tom, I think you were planning on stealing it. You're a suspicious character. I think I'd better lock you up for further questioning.
No, Billy, what are you doing?
I'm doing my duty, Mayor. Tom here is looking mighty suspicious. The book says...
I know what the book says. I gave you the book. You can't go arresting Tom, not yet.
Huh?
Acting suspiciously isn't a crime.
All right. But I was just trying to do my job. I'll still get you, Tom. Remember, crime does not pay.
Crime doesn't... Hey, that's a real slick way of putting it, isn't it?
I thought it was kind of catchy. I read it in the book.
Morning, Marv. How's the schoolhouse coming?
Oh, hi, Tom. Fair. Would have come along better if I'd had my saw.
Your saw?
Yes, I left it leaning against my door last night. Wasn't there this morning, Tom.
Oh, yeah, your saw. Well, you know how it is, Marv. I had to practice some skulking last night.
Oh, yeah, sure. Say, Tom, do you suppose I could use the saw for a while, just for an hour or two?
Well, I don't know. It's legally stolen, you know.
Well, I'd give it back. I wouldn't keep anything that was legally stolen.
Well, it's in the house with the rest of the loot.
Okay, I'll go borrow it then.
Tom, I've been looking for you.
Oh, morning, Mayor.
Did you steal my bronze plaque?
Oh, I certainly did.
Oh, well, I was just wondering. Well, you got your murder planned? Time is running short. Inspector may land any hour now, so let's get that killing over with.
Oh, well, then, I guess I'll kill George Waterman.
Why?
Why? Why not?
What's your motive?
Well, I thought you just wanted a murder. Who said anything about a motive?
We can't have a fake murder. On Earth, every murderer has a motive.
Oh, well, I don't like the way George walks. Never did, and he's noisy sometimes.
No, that might be good enough for a crime of passion, but you're a legal criminal, Tom. You're ruthless and cold-blooded and cunning. You can't kill someone just because you don't like the way he walks. That's silly.
But I'm supposed to make somebody cease to exist. I mean, like, take Marv Carpenter. Here he is today working on the schoolhouse. Big fella. Now, if I kill him, well, he wouldn't work anymore. Now, I've been trying to imagine it. Marv Carpenter lying on the ground with his eyes glaring open and his mouth twisted and never going to hold a piece of wood in his hands again or never sing a song or have a beer or anything. It just kind of makes me sick. I mean, I can go on with the thieving, but murder...
Yes, I know, but it's your job, Tom. It's for the good of the village.
Murder? Oh, I better go have another beer. Hey, what's that?
That must be the inspector's ship landing. Come on, let's go see.
Perimeter guard advance. Sidearms to be worn at all times. And guards at battle stations.
Welcome to New Delaware.
Thank you, General. I'm the inspector. This is Mr. Grant, my political advisor.
Is this the capital of the colony?
Well, I'm afraid there's only one village on the whole of New Delaware.
Only one? Grant, I told you when we surveyed that planet we were wasting our time.
Patience. We're ready, General. Let's inspect your village.
We've got it all. Jail, post office, church, little red schoolhouse. Oh, we're very normal. Very earthly.
Grant, this place is worthless. No smelting, no heavy industry, no atomics, no taxation, they don't have anything. They'll be downgraded at the next colonial board. Why, this place is a utopia. It's subversive. We ought to blow it right out of the sky.
Now, don't be despondent, Inspector. New Delaware is a very important commodity for us.
What? You saw them, hulking peasants, nothing but farmers.
Yes, strong, healthy farmers. Good cannon fodder.
But... Oh.
Let me take over. General.
Yes, sir?
How many able young men are there in the village between the ages of 15 and 60?
Why?
You see, General, Imperial Earth is engaged in a war. The colonies in Ding 4 are revolting against the authority of Mother Earth.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
We need good, healthy fighting men. Our reserves are depleted.
We wish to give all loyal colonists a chance to fight for Mother Earth. We're sure you won't refuse. Most colonies welcome a little conscription. Cleanses the blood. Reduces crime.
Crime? Oh, I thought that would come up. We've taken care of that. I appointed...
You see, Grant? 60, 70, perhaps 100 recruits. Not such a waste of time coming here after all.
Hey, wait a minute, Mayor.
Oh, hello, Tom. What are you doing?
Well, you said there had to be a murder, so
No, wait just a minute. Look, I didn't mean me. It can't be me. You haven't any motive.
Well, I've been pretty sore about you appointing me town criminal.
Look, it was the mayor who appointed you, wasn't it?
Well, sure.
Well, then, look, I'm not the mayor anymore. I'm a general. Look, you see, stars, gold braid.
Well, what's that got to do with it?
Well, you missed the ceremony this afternoon, Tom. The inspector said I had to wear a general's uniform. It was a very friendly ceremony. All the Earthmen were winking at me and each other.
Oh, congratulations. But you were the mayor when you appointed me criminal, so my motive still holds.
Yes, but killing a general isn't murder. It's mutiny.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right, Tom. It's just that I've read up on it and you haven't. Well, I better get back. The inspector wants a lot of the men he can draft.
Are you sure this murder is necessary?
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. Just not me.
No luck, huh, Tom?
I just can't do it. Ed, I can't kill anybody in the village. I grew up with them. I've worked with them. I've drank root beer with them. I don't have any motive for killing any of them.
Well, Tom, you have to commit a murder. You don't want to let the village down.
Wait a minute. I got an idea. Ed, suppose I kill the inspector.
What's your motive?
Oh, it would be a very terrible crime. I'd be killing for glory, for fame, for notoriety, and it'll show Earth how earthy New Delaware really is. Well, they'll say crime is so bad here that a criminal actually killed their inspector on the very first day.
Yeah. Well, how are you going to do it?
Well, one of those soldiers got drunk on a bottle of your Keebler juice, and I stole his gun. Well, I better get going. I'll wait for him on the path between the mayor's house and the ship.
Yeah, good luck, Tom.
Yeah, thanks.
4. Cut. 2, 3, 4. Pivot line there. What a sloppy crew, all their feet.
Still, it's a nice night's work. With those landing parties dying like flies, we can use every new man we can get.
Shh. Don't say that.
What? Are you afraid the mayor will hear me? Don't be ridiculous. It's a completely passive population, sheep-like, obedient. But wait till those sergeants get hold of them at the base. They'll whip them into first-class fighting men in no time.
Halt! Stand and deliver!
What the? Why, it's Tom.
Hands up, Inspector. I got you covered. Now, the rest of you, drop your guns and move out of the way.
What? Now, see here.
Now, go on. Now, drop those guns.
What's the meaning of this?
And who are you?
Tom Fisher. I'm the town criminal. I'm going to kill the inspector. Now, please move out of the way.
Criminal? So that's what the mayor was prattling about.
Now, I know we haven't had any murders in 200 years, but I'm changing that now. Move out of the way.
Well, I suppose I'd better get out of the line of fire, eh?
Now, wait a minute. Wait.
Now, don't move. Now, I know just how to do it. I've been thinking about it. I'll push this button and you'll die. Now, you'll fall down on the path, and your eyes will be open and your mouth twisted, and no air going in and out of your lungs, and no beat to your heart. And I can't do it. Here's your gun. Take it. I don't want it.
Quick after him. Sergeant, have the entire ship's company turned out. General, I want all your people out looking for him. Shoot on sight. Kill him instantly.
Oh, we couldn't do that. Although we appreciate the compliment.
What that means?
He's a criminal, yes. That's what I'm trying to explain. I appointed him. We had to have one.
You what? You mean you had no criminals?
Well, No, I'm afraid not. I'm terribly ashamed. You see, we knew how uncivilized we were, and that's why we did it. I'm dreadfully embarrassed that Tom couldn't handle the job.
Why did you give the assignment to that particular man?
Well, I figured if anyone could kill, Tom could. He's a fisherman, you know. That's pretty gory work.
And he wasn't able to kill the inspector?
Well, we just haven't had to kill anything for 200 years except fish. The only animals on New Delaware are small grass eaters, and they're not good to eat, so we never kill any of them.
And the rest of you would be equally unable to kill?
We wouldn't even get as far as Tom did.
I want that man found and...
Forget about it, Inspector.
What?
We'd better get away from here. You want men in our army who can't kill? Think of it. The morale problem. The possibility of infection. One man in a key position endangering a key ship, or maybe a whole fleet, because he can't kill. It isn't worth the risk, Inspector.
Yes, sir. I see what you mean.
Order your troops to get back to the ship. We'll take off at once.
Tom, you can come out now. Tom, they're gone.
He's hiding around here somewhere, Mayor.
Yeah. Tom? Oh, Tom.
Here I am. I'm sorry I bungled it. I guess I won't be needing my skulking permit anymore.
No, I guess not. Well, we did our best.
I had the chance, and then I let you all down.
Oh, Tom, it's not your fault. Now, look how long it took Earth to get civilized. Thousands of years, and we were trying to do it in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, we better get back to the village. Looks like rain.
Yep. Soon I'll start fishing again. Say.
What is it, Tom?
I think I could have done it if I'd only had the sense to think of the inspector as a fish. Well, it's too late now. I guess I'll let the village down.
Fred Collins again, and I'll have a word for you on tonight's X-1 in a moment.
This is Bob Haynes speaking to you from somewhere in the Caribbean. I am aboard a UDT personnel landing craft. That's the Underwater Demolitions Team. We are right now on our way out to rendezvous with United States submarine Sea Lion.
Monitor took you there.
Some men go over Niagara Falls in a barrel. Some people sit on top of flagpoles. But we have a man by the name of Raja Phillips from India who is buried alive right in the center of a furniture store here in Owensboro, Kentucky.
And Monitor took you there. Big events, little events, offbeat events, comedy, music, news, and sports. They're all part of the top variety of entertainment Monitor brings you all weekend long. This is Frank Blair inviting you to join us on Monitor every weekend and Friday nights, too, on most of these NBC stations.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Blaze of Glory by Robert Silverberg. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Skulking Permit, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Robert Sheckley and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in our cast were Richard Hamilton, Wendell Holmes, Dean Almquist, Mandel Kramer, Ted Osborne, Santos Ortega, and Bob Hastings. This is Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
There's excitement in the air at night, and Nightline brings it to you. Hear Nightline with Walter O'Keefe, next on most of these NBC stations.
This is Walter O'Keefe inviting you to listen in on the Nightline. Tonight, live the incredible life of ages yet to come in a time that might be 1,000,000 years from now on X-1. Now, an incredible story of the world beyond.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, Early Model by Robert Sheckley. But first, hear this.
When you swing and sway to a Latin beat, life is lovely, life is sweet.
You make it Pabst, 'cause Pabst makes it perfect.
Yes, Pabst makes it perfect. Just as we always have ever since 1844. So next time, you make it Pabst, because Pabst makes it perfect. America's Blue Ribbon beer from the Pabst Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yes, Pabst makes it perfect.
Now, X-1 and the Robert Sheckley story, Early Model.
Of course, Professor Sliggett claimed the trouble was that the Protec was an early model, but then he invented it. He sprung the thing on me just before I took off for my scouting contact mission to Tells 4 in the Betelgeuse sector.
Here, Bentley, put this on.
Well, what is it?
A new model. It's called a Protec.
What's it for?
You'll wear it on your mission.
Now, look, Sliggett, I already have to carry enough equipment to give varicose veins to an elephant. Linguicine, that's 22 pounds. I can't do without it, or I can't translate native languages. Concentrated food, water, subspace radio, weapons, medical kit. Now, how much does this thing weigh?
72 pounds. Try it on.
Look, I won't promise
it fits right on your back. Here, I'll snap the harness. Fits fine.
It digs into my back. There's a sharp thing back there.
That's the sensory link. It has to be at that angle.
But my back...
We're working on the problem. Now, don't worry.
What does it do?
Protec is the perfect protection for initial planet contact. There are pseudoprotein computer banks and an Anderson Woodward force field projector. Wherever the Protec senses danger... Here, look, I'll show you. I take this slide rule and swing at you.
Hey, where did everybody go? Who turned out the lights? Hey, Sliggett, where am I? Sliggett! Get me out of here, Sliggett! What happened?
The Protec went on. Oh. It encased you in the AW force field. I released by master control. You can turn it off with this button on your chest. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, but 73 pounds.
Well, this is an early model. I've used every weight-saving device possible, but unfortunately, early models are always a little bulky.
All right. How do I take it off?
I'm not going to tell you.
Huh?
We're not going to take chances of having valuable equipment discarded just because it might be a little uncomfortable. Bentley, you're going to an alien planet. It's necessary that you be protected at all times.
Look, I've got enough sense to figure out when to wear this thing.
Yeah, suppose you find the natives seemingly friendly. You'd want to take off this heavy, uncomfortable Protec. But suppose you misjudge their attitude.
Sliggett, I can take care of myself.
That's what Atwood said before he left for Atopus 3. We never heard from him. Bentley, can you turn a knife thrust from the rear? Have you got eyes in the back of your head? Protec has. We're not going to risk $8 million worth of equipment just because you might be uncomfortable.
Suppose it blows a fuse or pops a wire.
We've got triple everything, with a power supply good for a century. Bentley, after this field test, the Protec will be standard equipment for all explorers.
Well, all right. I'll try to get used to it. But it feels like I'm carrying a 72-pound monkey on my back. I carried it for 6 weeks on the way to Tells 4. And the added weight loused up my coordination and landing, so I burned out about 7 acres with backlash from the braking tubes. The radio receiver buried in my ear itched, and my back was rubbed raw from the carrying straps. I piled on my linguisine and the other equipment and staggered out. My instructions were to fraternize with the Aborigines and establish a trade pact, if possible. I found 2 of them standing outside the tail fins when the hull had cooled enough to get out. They were bipeds, orange-skinned with thick, short tails, and they were armed with stone axes and clubs. I stepped out of the lock, and they started talking fast. I realized I hadn't turned on my linguisine, so I tuned it in and threw the switch.
I dare say it's a manifestation of some supernatural quality, eh, Wassel, old chap?
Without a doubt, old man. You know how the linguisine works, instantaneous semantic translation. Well, mine was made by the Gourley Laboratories just outside London, and naturally they had the word tapes recorded by BBC announcers. It takes a little getting used to when you hear some walking vegetable from the Canopus system talking like the Home Service. Well, the Tellians were pretty excited by my arrival.
How strange. Unbelievable.
Most improper, you know.
I suppose it can talk.
I come as a friend. A friend.
Well?
It does talk. Dreadful accent. But what can you expect, eh?
Foreigners, you know.
You know, old boy, I definitely sense an evil.
Oh, now, come. We're both ghost doctors. Surely if there was an evil, we'd both sense it.
Well, let's ask, shall we?
Let's.
I say, are you evil? Me?
Why, yes. You see, we're the village ghost doctors. It's our job to ferret out evil, so to speak.
It's our cup of fugle, so to speak.
Are you evil?
Oh, no. No.
He says he's not evil.
Well, how do you know?
If he doesn't, who does?
My dear fellow, appearances aren't everything. Surely you recall the legend of Hatape, the gods tempted the chief...
Please, my dear chap, I'm as well aware of religious precedent as you are.
The 2 of them stood there, lashing their orange tails, accusing each other of heresy. The linguisine finally couldn't handle the theological discussion and cut out before overload blew a circuit. Eventually, they must have decided something because the short one carrying the stone axe turned to me.
Stranger, we've decided not to kill you.
Not yet, anyway. We'll go to the village and purify ourselves, then we'll initiate you into the club. The club?
The Society of Ghost Doctors. You see, no evil thing can become a ghost doctor. It just isn't done, you know.
Oh, we'll find out the truth that way. Clever. Eh? I'm deeply grateful.
But if you're evil, we'll destroy you. Have to. Our job, you know.
You are listening to Early Model, tonight's attraction on X-1. For the big things in your life, be ready with United States savings bonds. That's the new savings bond with the higher interest rate. The improved Series E savings bonds that now mature faster to pay you back extra dollars faster. Yes, when you think of saving, think of savings bonds. They offer you the safe, easy way to save regularly. Safe because each bond is backed by the United States government itself. Easy because you can buy bonds either where you bank or through the payroll savings plan where you work. And you get back $4 at maturity for every $3 invested, so you earn extra dollars. But the big news is that the maturity period is shortened to only 8 years and 11 months. So join the bond wagon. Start a family savings program. Invest in improved Series E bonds today and hold the bonds you already own. Now, back to X-1 and tonight's story, Early Model.
Sliggett. Calling Professor Sliggett at home base. Come in.
Go ahead, Bentley. Report.
I'm in the village now. They're about to initiate me as some kind of priest. All I have to do is pass some kind of test. And, by the way, if I don't pass, they're going to kill me.
That's good.
What's funny?
They can't hurt a hair on your head, not with Protec on the job.
They seem awfully confident that they can.
Primitive cultures always overestimate the power of their weapons. Don't worry. Just let Protec take care of you.
Go ahead, old boy. It's purified ceremonial food.
But I can't.
Why not? We purified with 7 sprinklings of strychnine, according to ritual.
It's a taboo. I'm only allowed to eat my own supplies. A tribal taboo, you know.
How primitive.
Positively pagan.
Well, shall we get on with it? We'll dispense with the written exam and get right down to the oral.
Tell me, what do you think of evil?
Well, it isn't good.
Ah.
Well put.
Well, in that case, you will have no objection to receiving the sacred and very holy spear that Cranclew brought down from the abode of the small gods, the brandishing of which brings good on a man.
Oh, I would be honored to receive it.
Very well, then. The ceremony can commence.
O stranger from the skies, accept from us this spear of sanctity. Evil cannot abide the presence of this spear. Take then our blessings with it. Here, here, O stranger, take the spear!
Confounded Protec, where's that release button? Sliggert, come in! Oh, he's probably out to lunch. Gotta get that force field off. Listen, I'm terribly sorry,
Begin
but
the purification, Dodge. We are in the presence of the evil spirit.
Oh, no, I can explain.
You cannot accept the sacred spear.
Well, you see, I've got this protective device. It's sort of like a shield, you know? It doesn't like spears. It doesn't trust them. You couldn't give me a sacred gourd?
No. Who ever heard of a sacred gourd?
Poppycock. Look, you'll just have to take my word for it. I'm not evil. Really. Scout's honor.
Our course is clear.
Transparent.
We won't kill you at once. We'll pray for you through the night. And perhaps in the morning, things will turn out better. If not...
Sorry, old boy, but you understand our position. We'll just have to kill you. Can't be helped. Regulations, you know.
Yes, Bentley, I understand. Well, primitive people are notoriously treacherous. They might have stabbed you with the spear.
Look, Sliggett, I'm positive there was no such intent. After all, you have to start trusting people sometime.
Not with $1 billion worth of equipment in your charge.
Don't you understand? The Protec wouldn't let me accept their sacred spear. That means I might be evil. Now, what if I can't pass the initiation test tomorrow? Look, tell me how to take it off.
Oh, no. We want you back alive. There's no way they can hurt you through the Protec field. Now, try to have a little faith.
The campfires burned all night, and I could hear the chants of the ghost doctors. At least 3 or 4 times during that night, the Protect force field howled on and off, but I was too tired to care. In the morning, the 2 Tellians came to see me and stood switching their fat orange tails politely while the linguicine translated for me.
There were great sounds from your hut last night, sounds of torment, as if you were wrestling with the devil, so to speak.
I'm a restless sleeper.
Yes, of course.
Quite.
By the way, old thing, did you pray for purification last night?
Oh, yes, I did.
And was your prayer granted?
Yes, sure, certainly. Not a bit of evil around me.
Well, if you can't be initiated, we'll have to destroy you.
We made that clear, didn't we?
Oh, yes, quite clear. The initiation ritual took the whole day. It was sort of a cross between a Shriners' convention and a performance of Das Rheingold at the Met. Luckily, no one tried to hand me a ceremonial spear or point a club in my direction, so the Protect kept its grimy force field to itself. Finally, around supper time, the Tellians pounded the last tail on the ground, and everyone stopped and paid close attention.
Oh, brothers, this alien has come across the vast emptiness to be our brother. With this initiation, we purge him of evil and make him one of us. Brother, now you are a ghost doctor with all the privileges and perquisites pertaining thereto. And in friendship, I extend to you the claw of friendship.
Well, thanks.
We have only to shake claws, and the ceremony is concluded.
All right, brother. Give me some skin. Slip me 7. No, listen, turn it off. He just wants to shake hands. You're spoiling everything. Off. Now, where's that button? Off!
Evil. Well, there it is, you know. We hoped we could muddle through, but you can't win them all, you know. There's only one thing left. Kill the devil!
About 30 of the Tellians heaved stone spears at me, and naturally I disappeared inside the Anderson-Woodward force field, and the spears rattled off the whining coruscating power sphere. I tried to walk back to the ship, but the Protect went on about every half step, and at that rate it would take me about a month to cover the ground. I figured I'd wait him out. And then I noticed that the air inside the field began to go stale. I came out of the field. The Tellians were sitting around. Rennick picked up a spear.
Evil.
Wait. Hold off. Fins. Fair play.
Fair play?
I say, Rennick, he's due a 3-minute sanctuary under the sacred law of his Hipple.
You really think so?
We invoked fair play.
True. All right, monster. You have 3 minutes.
Thanks. Hello, Sliggert. Come in, Sliggert.
Ah, there you are, Bentley.
Listen, you've got to get me out of this. They're trapping me in the Protect.
You mean the Protect is saving you from harm?
No, they keep activating it. They'll starve me out.
Now, don't get panicky. Just sit tight in the Protect field till they see they can't harm you.
You confounded idiot. There's no air in there. The force field cuts it off. I'll choke.
Oh, dear, that's true, isn't it? Don't worry. We'll correct that in future models.
Oh, thanks a lot. But what am I going to do right now? How do I get this thing off?
Well, now I am sorry. To tell the truth, I designed the harness so that you couldn't get out under any circumstances.
Oh, you lousy...
Please, let's keep our heads. If you can hold out for a couple of months, we might be able
to... I can't. The air, the water... And I hate to mention it, but they seem to be building fires around me.
I'm sorry. Your 3 minutes are up. We are going to destroy you with fire.
Yeah, it's traditional that way. My dear chap, would you like to kindle the first blaze?
Oh, after you, old fellow. Remember, I burned the last evil monster.
True. Oh, monster.
Yes?
Do you have a light?
I knew I was cooked, one way or the other. They started to light fires around me in a circle, and the Protect snapped on. I had to get out. Of course, when I did, the Tellians would cheerfully spear me to death. But at least I had a chance of running. The field snapped on again. I grabbed my knife from the tool chest and hacked at the thick duroplastic webbing of the harness. I came out of the field long enough to hear Sliggert shouting in my ear.
What are you doing?
Cutting my way out of this fire trap.
You don't dare destroy government equipment. This will go down on your 201 file.
Look, I'm trapped inside the field as long as they feed the fire. And considering how they feel about devils, they'll probably keep it up a couple of 100 years. Uh-oh. They're pushing the fire closer. Goodbye. tore at the straps with my wire cutters and knife. I could only work when the field was off. The Protect protected itself. Finally, I ripped the harness off just as the field went on, and I was thrown 20 feet into the fire. But I landed on my feet and was off and running. It took the Tellians just 100 yards to catch up and gently lay a stone club along the side of my head. Oh, well, let's get it over with. You're going to kill me. Let's not make a production out of it.
Oh, but my dear fellow, we don't want to kill you.
Dear me, no. We knew you were a good man. It was the devil we wanted.
I don't mean to be tactless, but you do know you had a devil riding on your back.
We tried to purify him, but he was too strong. The fire took the starch out of him, though.
The devil? Devil on my back? Oh, yeah, I guess so, yes.
You know, our village is very proud to have such a powerful devil chained up inside a fire ring.
Tell me, my dear chap, you haven't by any chance any more devils like that in your homeland?
No, that's the only one.
Pity.
Huh? We'd really be tickled orange if we could have a few more to worship, you know.
You mean trade for them?
Why, yes. I'm sure every village would want one.
Well, I think that can be arranged, and you haven't seen anything. We'll sell you devils that really are devils. After all, this one is just an early model.
Fred Collins again, and I'll be back to tell you a word about tonight's X-1 in a moment.
Bob Barker.
Yes, Ralph?
Bob. I just want to say that I heard you emceeing the Truth or Consequences program on NBC Radio, and I thought you were great, boy.
Well, that's
real
quite a
great. I mean it.
Coming from none other than Ralph Edwards, the creator of and original Truth or Consequences MC. You really like the show, Ralph?
Oh, I'll say I did. It was wonderful hearing it on radio again. Sounded better than ever.
Well, no one should know better than you, Ralph. But really, we just can't miss. Our contestants are wonderful.
Yes,
the
I
stunts
know.
are out of this world.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise family reunions, the gigantic whisper contest.
Yes.
A dream world of jackpot prizes, especially for NBC radio listeners.
Really?
And not just once a week, Ralph, but every weekday morning.
No
That's
kidding.
right. Monday through Friday. Can you beat it?
I'm going to right now, Bob. So long, folks.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Make Me an Offer by Con Blomberg. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Early Model, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Robert Sheckley and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in our cast were Bob Hastings, Joseph Bell, Anthony Kemble Cooper, and Alastair Duncan. This is Fred Collins speaking. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
There's excitement in the air at night, and Nightline brings it to you. Here in Nightline with Walter O'Keefe. Next on most of these NBC stations.
The magic island of Eupidia, home of a colony of mad scientists, would be a weird enough place to visit on a sightseeing tour. But it becomes fearful indeed to the little party of worldly people imprisoned there. When Mrs. Patricia Gregory set out to look for her young daughter, lost 14 years ago in a shipwreck, she little dreamed of the dangers her party would encounter. Captain Tex Bradford, friend of Patricia Gregory and organizer of the expedition, young Jerry Hall, amateur radio operator who begged to accompany them, and Joan Gregory, the daughter, are now prisoners on the island, or rather inside the island, as their quarters are down in the depths of this man-made structure. Left to their own devices after their escape and recapture, our friends soon discover that there is little pleasure in their imprisonment. They are nearly maddened by the constant echo of their voices in the steel chambers.
Well, I know things don't look any too hot for us right now, but we've got to keep our chins up.
Oh, you've been wonderful, Jerry. I think yours is the strongest one of all.
And I'm willing to admit that I'm not apt to be much help about getting us out of this place.
Jerry is quite right in putting forward a brave face. even though intelligent thought would rule it useless.
Now, look here, Joan. Nobody's going to rule my face useless.
My reference was to your attitude rather than your appearance. However, if we are to enter into discussion of the matter, exactly what value does your face have?
Did you hear that? What value does my face have?
Now, Jerry, don't get excited and start an argument with Joan. We can occupy our time better than that.
Oh, it would seem so, Tex, and yet we must talk about something, and there's so little to be said.
Joan, let you and I go in my room at the end of the hall where we can figure a way out of this thing.
I'm quite willing to confer with you if you will confine your conversation to the bounds of logic, Gerald.
Gerald? Huh. This is going to be a fine argument, Gerald. Oh, well, come on.
Take a look at the pigeons while you're there, will you?
We'll make sure they're all right.
You will make sure of nothing, my young fool.
G47.
Precisely.
We were merely going into the next chamber for a discussion, G47.
Then be on your way. I have something to say to your mother and Captain Bradford.
Come right on in, G47.
Your attempt at courtesy is only a ridiculous gesture. I shall come and go within these chambers as I please.
Well, is it all right if we go on now?
No. Nothing you could do would be right. But you have my permission. Go.
Come on, Joan. You know, that guy gives me the willies.
Jerry, the willies are what?
Oh, so you forgot that already. Here I waste a lot of time trying to teach you English, and now you forget what the willies are.
I am sorry, Jerry, but your words are so strange to me.
No more than this blame island is strange to me. Hey, this door's open. That means old Geometry's been in here taking himself a good look around.
We cannot prevent that. He rules Euclidia.
Yeah, I know it. Well, let's go in and sit down. Maybe we can figure some way out of this mess.
These apartments are very comfortable, are they not?
They are not. This blame echo thing is driving me crazy. Nothing is comfortable that you can't get out of when you want to.
You may be right.
You know I'm right.
No, Jerry. I know you think you are quite correct in everything you do, but
I'm getting along all right. Now listen, old G47 isn't calling on your mother and Captain Bradford for any tea party. He's going to threaten them with something or else promise them something to get Texas formula. And we may have to work fast to figure another escape.
But there is no opportunity for escape now.
That's what you said before, and we got away.
But we did not, as you would say. Stay got away.
Stay got away. Oh, what's the use? Now, if we only get another chance to use those pigeons. Hey, Joan, the pigeons are gone.
Jerry, they are not here.
No, I'll say they're not here. But how did they get out?
G47.
But we'd have heard him moving around in this echo stuff here.
Not G47. He would make no sound.
No sound? In this place?
Did you hear any footsteps when he came to the door?
Golly whiskers, Joan, you're right. It didn't make a sound. But when we walk around here, it sounds like a truck on cobblestones.
We have been talking for a considerable period of time in Mother's apartment.
Uh-huh. Long enough for him to do anything he wanted to.
There have been no homing pigeons on Euclidia, to my knowledge, which is, of course, limited to the confines of information our scientists have stipulated as the maximum advisable for consumption at my age.
Right with you, Joan. Those old boys have told you as much as they thought a kid could swallow.
Gerald, I am not a kid. A kid...
Yeah, I know. Don't tell me again. A kid is a young goat. Now, if you'll stop trying to educate me and listen to reason for a while, we might figure a way out of this.
But there is no way out. G47 will not relax the vigilance of the Euclideans again. Our case is particularly hopeless since our escape.
Why any more since that?
G47 will now realize our potentialities and be doubly anxious to secure the captain's formula.
Well, he can figure all he wants to. But G47 or no G47, we'll get off this funny island someday, and I'll bet it won't take long either.
It seems almost impossible that so stupid a person would be given such splendidly continuous vocal equipment.
Jerry, he heard you.
Oh, what of it? He didn't hear anything he doesn't know.
It would need a man far more ignorant than any on Euclidia to learn anything new from one of your mental caliber, Hall. In a very short space of time, you may understand more fully what I mean. In a very short time. A very short...
Gee, he's gone. Through that steel wall, without a sound.
Jerry, you should know that G47 did not go through that steel wall.
Well, it looked like he did.
And even after your experiences with these Euclidean scientists, you are willing to accept the appearance for the fact?
Oh, yeah, he didn't go through the wall at all.
To be sure he did not.
To be sure, nothing of this is Screwy Island. But I guess I know what happened. He stepped around a sharp corner in that hallway, and the polished steel made his reflection look like he was passing through.
Now your mental processes are functioning again.
Yeah, but no matter how old geometry got out of here, it's just another good sign that he knows a lot of tricks we'll have trouble catching up with.
Jerry, listen.
Yeah, that's a signal to submerge, isn't it?
It is, and that would mean one of two things.
Well, I know it means the island is in danger of being seen for one thing, but what's the other?
Something which would mean the end of all our hopes.
Huh? They're going to drown us?
I think not, but it might be as well.
Hey, listen, I don't like the way you say that. What goes on here?
Here they are in here, Pat.
Oh, Joan, Jerry, we've the most wonderful news.
Observation would lead us to conclude that information of an optimistic nature would be welcome.
Joan's afraid things are looking bad for us.
Well, they don't look any too good. But with what we just found, there's every chance we'll get away from this island.
What is it?
The very thing we've been looking for every hour since we landed on this mad island. Look.
A little black notebook. Well?
The diary of the old sailor.
Is that it?
That's it, boy, the old sailor's diary. And if it's as complete as we think it is, we'll know as much about this island as the Euclideans know.
You will undoubtedly find much of value in that book.
It wasn't even hidden. After G47 left the room, Tex and I started to get acquainted with our surroundings. And there, lying on a shelf in plain sight, was this book.
And that old sailor spent years here, didn't he, Joan? Years in which he studied this island and waited for his chance to escape, and made entries of all he learned in this diary.
That is true.
Then that diary should tell us all we need to know to plan an escape from this place.
Without doubt, it will tell us all we need to know to plan the escape.
But, Joan, dear, why do you sound so hopeless?
Oh, Joan is so afraid of these people she doesn't realize the chance this gives us.
I don't know about that. When Joan puts on the graveyard look, she's usually got a pretty good reason for it.
But there couldn't be anything lacking in what this book means to us. We all agreed, and you were heartily in agreement with us on it, Joan, that if we could find this diary, it would quite possibly mean our escape.
Where did you say you found this book?
In Pat's apartment.
And the book was not concealed? No attempt had been made to hide it?
Why, no, dear. It was lying right in front of us.
You're right, Joan.
Maybe I'm thick, but I still don't see it. A book we wanted is still a book we want, no matter where it was found.
Even if it had been left where you could not help but find it?
Huh? Where we... Oh, golly whiskers.
Joan, dear, we didn't find the book. It was simply handed to us.
Yes, Mother.
Then that means just one thing. The book isn't going to do us any good.
Looks like that's it. These Euclideans have figured out some way of being sure we'll stay here as long as they want us, no matter how many books we find.
That is the situation to be faced.
Oh, and I thought the little diary meant so much.
Don't look so downhearted, Pat. That diary means plenty. We're going to get off this man-made torture city someday, and when we do, we can use that information to further scientific work in the right direction back home.
That's all swell, but Joan's got the idea we're not going to get back home.
Did you hear that?
That signal gong of theirs. They're going to submerge this island or do some more of their tricks.
I think it meant more than that.
What is it?
Don't act so mysterious, Joan. We must know all that you know about this island and know it as quickly as possible if we're to have a chance to escape.
I will tell you, Mother, the instant I'm certain as to the meaning of that signal. If it was what I believe it to be, it will be repeated in 60 seconds.
Well, if that's some special signal that we don't know anything about, let's keep quiet when it starts again so Joan can tell exactly what it is.
In the meantime, let's... Oh, so they took the homing pigeons.
Yes, Captain Tex. The little pigeons are gone.
And with them went our strongest hopes for escape.
Well, I didn't think they'd let us keep them anyway.
Now, don't be too downhearted over the loss of those birds. These scientists won't hurt them any. They'll give them every care and attention because they want to study them. And the pigeons have done their work for us long ago. You all seem to forget that Johnson is on his way to the States with our possession, and he knows where to get my formula. All we have to do is to hang on until he can have that formula compounded and organize a rescue party. We can expect rescue in less than 3 weeks.
1, 2, 1. Yes, that is the signal. And the position Johnson has for this island is quite useless.
Useless? Why, Joan?
That was the signal to move the island.
You mean to submerge it?
No, I mean to move it. Move it along the floor of the ocean. For 1 mile or 25 miles or 1,000 miles.
Move this island? But, gee, golly whiskers, if they can move this whole island, how will anybody find us?
That is our hopeless position, Jerry. No one will ever find us.
When the Gregory yacht left Los Angeles in search of the Magic Island and Mrs. Gregory's long-lost little daughter, Joan, they anticipated plenty of trouble and were not long in finding it. They planned and executed one escape, only to be brought back to the strange island of Euclidia, where their position is now worse than ever, as they're confined in steel cells on one of the lower levels of this mad scientific colony. G47, master scientist and ruler of Euclidia, has just paid them a visit, not a pleasant one. Mrs. Gregory, Joan, Jerry, and Captain Bradford stand listening to a new threat. The signal to submerge the island of Euclidia is sounding, and with it, another signal which only Joan understands. Jerry, Tex, and Pat find it hard to believe Joan as she explains the second signal.
There's that blamed gong again.
The island will be moved.
You mean that, Joan? They will actually move this huge island?
Yes, Mother.
Well, golly whiskers.
That's a pretty big order, Joan. This island is 100 feet high and several hundred feet in diameter.
And it weighs more than 1 million tons. Yet it will be moved. It is moving now.
Well, how do they move it?
There are immense cantilever-activated units of the worldly articulated caterpillar type, which simply progress slowly but steadily along the ocean floor.
An island that weighs 1 million tons walking around on the floor of the ocean? This is a nightmare.
Yet it's real. Horribly real. I can feel a steady vibration now. The entire place seems to be rocking gently from side to side.
That is a fair layman's description of the action.
Oh, yeah? Well, a layman's description is plenty good enough for me now. I don't need a lot of scientific languages to tell me that we're sunk.
We are not sunk, Jerry. We are submerged.
Well, sunk or submerged, we're underwater just the same, and I'm no fish.
I know how you feel, Jerry. We don't seem to be able to do very much about it. So let's try to take it as calmly as we can.
But, Tex, this means the end of everything. When the island is moved, our position is changed. No one will find us, and all of Johnson's work to bring aid will be lost.
That's about it, Pat.
Then there's nothing we can do.
Oh, Joan and I'll get you out of this. Don't worry about that.
Well, of course, we're glad to have your spirits so high, Jerry, and you have done a great deal. But do you know what you're going to do about this?
No, not yet. But I'll figure it out.
We'll all work on it, Jerry, and something surely must come out of it.
Jerry and I were fortunate in discerning certain possibilities on our tour of the island previous to our recent ill-fated escape attempt. Perhaps we could do as well if the attempt were repeated, though our activities would of necessity be directed along different lines.
She means that we can try it again, but we'll have to get a new angle.
Oh, thank you, Jerry.
Got any ideas, Joan?
Nothing of value at the moment, but Jerry and I may be able to discover something. May we go and carefully observe everything in this portion of the island?
You may be running into danger, dear.
How? We're locked in this little bunch of steel rooms. How are we going to get hurt any more by looking around than we would by just standing still?
I think Jerry's right, Pat. Let them go. They did all right for us before. And if they can't get out, nothing can get in to hurt them.
Don't stay away too long, will you?
Oh, it won't take us long to look this little place over. And we'll be back as soon as we find anything that looks like news.
Do not worry, Mother. We will return soon.
That's funny.
What, Tex?
That hollow echo of their steps on the steel floor, but the echoes are gone from the rest of the room.
Why, yes, so they are. Our voices are perfectly normal.
Yet the steps continue to echo. Oh, this is certainly a weird island.
Tex, now that the children are out of hearing, what do you really think about our chances?
Not any too good, Pat.
In fact, hopeless.
No, Pat, it isn't quite that bad.
Oh, yes, it is. You might as well admit it. They've locked us in these steel apartments, in one of the lower levels, and taken our homing pigeons, without our only means of communication, and locked up in a steel room below the surface of the sea. What possible chance could we have?
We escaped before, didn't we?
Yes, from the surface of the island, with the help of our pigeons, and Johnson, and another boat.
Yes, and Johnson is still free. He must be nearly to Los Angeles by this time, and our rescue may be only a matter of days or weeks at the most.
There's no reason to try to deceive me, Tex. We're all in this together. You and Jerry are in the same hopeless position just because you wanted to help me. And even Joan is in danger because of my attempt to take her back to our world. She was comparatively happy here with these Euclideans until we came. She knew nothing of our world, and her mother was only a name to her. Now we've brought to her all the promise of the love and brightness in our world, the promise that it would one day become her world, and we can't make good on that. It's rather a miserable failure, Tex, for all of us, and it's all my fault.
Now, Pat, that's no way to talk. Look how Jerry and Joan keep their heads up. They know as much about the danger here as we do. Surely we can do as well as those kids.
Oh, Jerry's fine. He's been such a help and comfort to me. But I promised his father that I'd take care of him. Take care of him by getting him imprisoned under the sea in an artificial island, peopled by mad scientists. Why, take care of him.
Stop that. You're not going to help things by going to pieces. We'd better be putting all our energy on some plan to get out of this place.
Oh, but it's all so hopeless.
We haven't even tried to get out since they put us in these steel cells. We haven't studied the old sailor's diary.
You're right. That diary may contain something of value to us.
No doubt of that, after the old man tried so hard to get it to us.
And where is the old man now?
Where is he? Why, he's... well...
Exactly.
But we have his diary, and it's supposed to contain a detailed description of nearly everything on this island.
He couldn't use that knowledge to make his own escape.
Pat, I've never known you to act just like this. You sound so absolutely hopeless about it all.
Oh, perhaps I'm overtired. I've never felt quite this hopeless before. I'm sorry, Tex. You've been so sweet all these years, waiting for me to find Joan, waiting for me to do this and that, and now... Oh, Tex, it looks as if we've waited too long.
Oh, nonsense, Pat. Keep your chin up. We'll get out of this somehow. You've been a very wonderful person through it all. 14 years of waiting for Joan, and now you have her. It's not right that we shouldn't get back to our world to enjoy all this, and we will get back.
Mrs. Gregory.
Oh, is that Jerry?
Sounded like it.
Mother?
Yes, that was Joan.
Come here a minute.
Where are you?
Down at the end of this steel hall. Come on and take a look at what's happening here. Hurry up and come in, will you?
Coming, Jerry.
He doesn't sound as if anything serious was wrong. But it isn't. Jerry would be so impatient.
Now, Mother, you and the captain must not be too badly frightened by what Jerry and I have discovered.
We mustn't what?
You two won't get scared if we show you something, will you?
What in the world has come over you, Jerry? Captain Bradford and I are not apt to be frightened by anything you take so calmly. What is it?
It may be of great moment to all of us, and it may be a mental enlargement of a minute accidental circumstance brought about by our proximity to countless things beyond the comfortable grasp of tired minds. In either event, it will avail us nothing to give it undue consideration.
Joan means we may be making a mountain out of whatever they make mountains out of, but she's afraid it's as bad as it looks.
Well, for heaven's sakes, Joan, what is all this?
You show them, Jerry. I will watch in the corridor.
No use doing that. Everything we're saying is being heard anyhow.
I expect that's true enough, but get on with it, kid. What stirred you all up?
Well, take a look on the floor, down here in the corner of this cell.
On the floor?
Yes. And if you look close, right up against that wall, you'll see where there's a little moisture coming in. Water or something. But it isn't any accident, I'll bet. See how steady it drops through that fine hole? Just as if the hole had been drilled there to let the water in.
Yes, I see it now.
But what could it mean?
It could mean a great many things, most of which I'd just as soon not think of now.
Well, I got an idea what it is. And that's the reason Joan and I didn't want to tell you about it at first.
If it's anything that important, we should know about it at once.
I'll say so. Come on, let's have it, Jerry, and hurry it up.
Well, Joan says that she heard some funny stories about people who had been put in these lower-level cells. Stories about water running into the place in a stream like this one, no bigger than a pinhole. And maybe it takes weeks or months or maybe a year. But finally the water gets so deep in here that you have to stand up to keep your head above it. And when you can't stand it anymore, you tell those crazy Euclideans whatever it is they want to know.
But, Jerry, you say Joan spoke of others who had been put down in here? And these rooms slowly flooded? Who were they?
There is no longer any need to worry about our conversation. You will note that our voices no longer echo. That would mean that the directional rays are focused upon our chambers, and everything we say or do will be heard and seen in the central communication chamber.
Well, as long as we can speak right out in meeting, I'd like to know a whole lot more about this water running in here on the floor.
You've heard something of it, Joan?
I have heard many discussions between G47 and his assistants relative to the prisoners in these cells. All of them were people of importance in the scientific world, or high officers in the armies and navies of countries of the orderly world. All of them had some secret that the Euclideans wanted to learn. And when this water would rise to the level of the prisoner's mouth, they would learn what they desired.
You wouldn't have to wait that long for me.
Joan, my dear, Do you think we are being subjected to that punishment now in order to secure the captain's formula for the Euclidean?
I'm sure of it, Mother. We will never be allowed to leave these rooms until G47 knows all there is to be known of the universal solvent.
About how long will it take to fill this room, Joe?
That I do not know, Captain. But it will take only a few hours for the water to lie on the floor to the depth of an inch in this room. And closing the room off will do no good, as the water will simply pass into the next room when it reaches the depth of 1 inch.
Oh, the sensible thing to do would be to give up my formula right now and take our chances on what they would do with us after that.
It might be just as well, Captain.
Now, don't you do it, Tex. We've still got plenty of time to figure some way out of this.
I'm inclined to agree with you, Jerry, though I must admit I haven't the faintest idea as to how to go about it.
But, Pat, you're all in danger.
Not as great danger as we would be once these Euclideans had taken all they wanted from us.
You're right, Mrs. Gregory. That formula is all they're saving us for, and let's hang on to it as long as we can.
Somebody knocking on the hall door.
That is strange. The Euclideans do not knock.
But no one except the Euclideans would have the freedom of these chambers.
You three stay where you are. I'll find out.
Oh, be careful, Tex.
Don't worry. I'll watch everything.
Something funny going on here. Notice how quickly the captain's steps stop making any noise?
No one on Euclidia ever knocks at a door. I do not like this.
Oh, you children are overly excited.
Well, maybe. But just the same. Hey, Tex! Tex! Captain Bradford!
Jerry, Tex doesn't answer. Do you think that...
Kellogg Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another planet, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, defender of law and order, champion of equal rights, valiant, courageous fighter against the forces of hate and prejudice, who is today winging his way toward the moon, while on its brittle surface, Jimmy Olsen and his companions have discovered some very weird inhabitants. We'll learn more about them in a moment, but right now, let's hear from our good friend, Dan McCullough.
You know, gang, I don't believe I know a fellow or a girl who doesn't get a kick out of following Superman's adventures in the funny papers and listening to him on the radio. So it's mighty swell that Kellogg's Pep included him in this series of comic buttons you're all collecting. There he is, big and powerful and handsome, his bright red cape a-flying in the wind. Why, he looks so real, you can almost imagine he'll say, up, up, and away! And you know, all the other pictures of your favorite comic strip characters are just as true to life, like Moon Mullins or Smitty or Harold Dean. And by this time, you ought to be well on your way toward having all 18 buttons in this series. And you've had a load of fun looking forward to a new button every time Mom opens a new package of Pep, and swapping duplicates with your pals, too. So hop to it, gang. See if you can get all 18 of those buttons soon. They're easy to get, you know. You don't send in a single penny, not even a box stop. And you can't buy these comic buttons anywhere. All you do is to make sure Mom gets you plenty of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. And there's an exclusive prize inside the package. Remember, that's P-E-P, Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventure... Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman. Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another planet, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, defender of law and order, champion of equal rights, valiant, courageous fighter against the forces of hate and prejudice. Today, on the distant surface of the moon, the Man of Steel wages a strange battle. A battle with the planet's huge flying mammals. We'll learn the outcome in a moment. But right now, let's join Dan McCullough and his young pal Rusty, who's trying to work out a problem in mathematics.
2, 8, 12, carry 1. Oh, that's not right. Hey, Dan.
Yeah?
How many servings in a package of Kellogg's Pep?
You mean regular servings or that big bowl full you eat every morning?
Oh, half and half, I guess.
Well, you can't figure that way, Rusty. What are you trying to do?
Well, you see, I've collected 14 Pep comic buttons, and I'm trying to figure out how soon I'll have all 18 in the series.
Well, that depends on a lot of things. Swapping duplicates, for instance. You know, you got to scout around and find out who has just the right one to trade with you.
Yeah, I know, and it depends on how soon our family empties each box of Kellogg's Pep, too.
Sure, and from what I've seen, that's pretty often.
I guess it won't be long. Boy, oh boy, I can hardly wait until I've got all 18 of those comic buttons pinned on my jacket.
Well, most all the fellows and girls feel that way, Rusty, because every single one of those 18 buttons is a real humdinger. Brilliant comic strip colors on white enameled metal buttons that you'll have for a long time. Pictures of your comic strip friends like Lillums and Uncle Walt and Superman himself. No fellow or girl wants to miss out on a single one. And you don't have to, because these exciting comic buttons are easy to get. You don't have to send in any money, not even a box stock, and you can't buy them anywhere. They come only as exclusive prizes in packages of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. So hop to it, gang. Tell Mom you'll eat lots of P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
Stranded on the surface of the moon when Professor Twiddle's radar rocket failed to operate as it should have, Jimmy Olsen, Poco, the little man who talks in rhyme, and the professor found themselves cut off from the Earth almost 250,000 miles away. Fortunately, they were located on the side of the moon containing enough oxygen to sustain life. But it contained other things, too. First, a race of peculiar moon dwellers, shaggy little creatures with monkey tails and human faces, except for their noses, which were long, corkscrew-like appendages, and who evidently lived beneath the surface of the moon. Second, a flock of huge birds, almost the size of horses, which Professor Twiddle identified as winged prehistoric mammals who had vanished from the Earth millions of years ago. Attacked by the venomous birds, Jimmy, Poco, and the professor were saved by the sudden arrival of Superman. As we continue now, the screaming, sharp-taloned creatures have risen into the sky like a horde of huge black locusts to do battle with the blue and red costumed Man of Steel. In the rocket, Professor Twiddle voices the fear in Jimmy's mind.
Bless my beard, I'm afraid even Superman is no match for those vicious creatures.
I wouldn't be too sure. He'll beat them off. You wait and see.
If anyone can, it's Superman.
There he goes, right into the middle of them. Oh, boy.
Exciting, isn't it? Like a football game.
Maybe it's like a football game to you, but it isn't to me. It's life and death.
Bless my beard, where is he? I don't see him.
He's got him surrounded. Oh, why doesn't he tackle them one at a time instead of...
Hey, look, see. He's free, he's free.
Attaboy, Superman. Sock him.
Bless my beard, yes. Sock him.
Did you see that? He swooped down and grabbed two of them by the neck. He's choking them. Look at him drop deader and doornail.
I looked at one of those wing mammals as a specimen.
Hey, Professor, come back.
But this is a scientific expedition.
Come back, I said. Don't go out there.
Yes, my dear young man, don't you realize those winged mammals are an anthropological rarity? They're extinct. Oh, do tell. You mean they smell? No, Poco, no. Extinct. Extinct. It means they no longer exist. They vanished. Oh, vanished my eyes. They're up in the sky. I mean from the earth.
Oh, look, fellas, cut it out, will you? We're still in trouble, even with Superman here. He's having a hard time of it with those birds. Look at him up there.
I was afraid he'd be no match for them. You'll recall I mentioned it.
All I can tell you is if he isn't, no one is. Look, he's got two more of them by the neck.
Look, my dear.
Wham! See that? He's using the two he caught to wallop the others. Oh, boy.
They're dropping like flies. It's incredible.
I told you he'd find a way. Look at him falling over there.
Oh, Jim, this is great.
Oh, you bet it is. Now maybe we'll get off the moon.
How can we? Look at this rocket, full of holes made by those peculiar moon dwellers. It certainly can't fly through space in this condition.
Oh, forget the rocket. We've got Superman. He'll take us back to Earth. Look, the rest of the birds are giving up. They're flying away. Come on. We're safe now. We can go out. Come on, Professor. Come on, Poco.
Yes, of course. I can't move. If you don't mind, I'd rather rest and stay behind.
Okay, Poco. We'll be right back. Come on, Professor.
Yes.
There's dead birds all over the place.
I wish you'd stop calling them birds. They're winged mammals.
Oh, mammals or camels. They've got wings and they're birds to me. Hey, Superman. Superman, it's me, Jim Olsen. Here he comes, Professor. Pull up. Oh, gosh, Superman. How can we ever thank you?
Yes, how?
Believe me, when we saw your blue and red costume up in the sky, it was like... Gosh, I don't even know how to say it. You tell him, Professor. Huh? You can sling the lingo better than I can.
Never mind slinging the lingo.
Well, that's what's the matter, Superman.
What do you think's the matter?
Well, I don't know.
Can't you see he's tired, young man? After all, battling 20-odd winged mammals is hardly child's play.
Hasn't anything to do with me, Professor Twiddle. I assume that's who you are.
Yes. Professor Timothy T. Twiddle, A.M., M.A., Ph.D.,
All right, skip the alphabet.
Huh?
Well, Jim?
Well, what?
Well, haven't you anything to say for yourself?
I don't know. What do you want me to say?
Well, I should think you'd say something after endangering not only your own life, but my life as well.
Gosh.
Worrying your mother half to death and driving the Metropolis Police Force out of its mind.
What, the Metropolis Police Force?
What do you think Inspector Henderson thought when he got those messages?
Then the pigeons did reach the Earth.
How else do you think I learned you were up here?
You see, Professor, it worked.
So it did.
Well, to get back to the subject, why did you do this, Jim?
Do what?
Take this mad trip to the moon, this utterly fantastic flight in that machine over there.
Machine? Mr. Superman, I'll have you know that is my radar rocket. Machine, indeed.
Machine, indeed. Right now, it looks like a cigar-shaped piece of Swiss cheese.
Oh, the little moon dwellers did that. They bored holes in it.
The little who?
The moon dwellers.
Moon dwellers?
Yeah, they live under the ground, and they've got corkscrew things instead of noses.
That's what?
They use them to bore up and down through the ground. Oh, but they're friendly, not like those birds. But you haven't told us what happened down on Earth, Superman. I mean, about the radar beam.
Bless my beard, yes. Why was it cut off? Did my assistant Gus fall asleep to lazy out?
No, he was overpowered by two men.
Bless my beard.
They locked him in a closet and took over the radar machine. They evidently cut off the beam.
I should say they did. Who were they?
I don't know their names. One of them was tall and red-headed.
Tall and... Dr. Marsh. That unscrupulous villain. I suspected he was after my secret. I hope you dealt with him severely.
Severely enough.
Good. Splendid.
Well, we're wasting time. I've got to get you people back to Earth. Incidentally, where's Poco?
Oh, he's in the rocket resting.
Oh?
He was scared stiff when those birds attacked us, and I don't think he's recovered yet.
Well, let's get him and see if we can pick up that radar beam and follow it back to Earth.
All right.
Come on.
What about my rocket? We're not going to leave it here, are we?
I only have 2 hands, Professor.
But bless my beard, that rocket represents years of research.
When we get back to Earth, we'll send a moving van up for it.
Oh, yes, a very good idea. Oh, come now. You can't be serious. A moving van?
Oh, forget the rocket, Professor Twiddle. Let's worry about us. You can always build another rocket, but you can't build another Twiddle.
Build another Twiddle? What's a Twiddle?
Well, you're a Twiddle. A Timothy T. Twiddle.
Bless my beard, so I am.
Well, here we are. Oh, don't bang your head getting into the rocket, Superman. The door's kind of low.
All right.
Poco, here's Super... Sleeping lizards.
What's the matter?
Well, the rocket's empty.
What?
Poco's not here.
Jim is right. The radar rocket is empty, and Poco is nowhere to be seen. What has happened to the fat little rhinestone? Has he been spirited away by another moon menace? Maybe, even this time, an invisible one? We'll return in a moment for the mysterious climax of today's episode. But first, here again is your announcer.
You know, gang, you're missing out on something the other kids are having a lot of fun with, unless you're pretty far along with your collection of those swell comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. You're going to be out in the cold when all your pals are soon sporting their full collection, all 18 different buttons on their jacket or dress or cap. So better get busy. Get in on the excitement of trading duplicates, too, and comparing notes with your pals on how many everybody's collected so far. You see, these are speaking likenesses of your favorite funny sheet characters, done up in full comic strip colors, too, bright and eye-catching as can be. And you know the best part is, you don't have to send in a single penny for these snappy comic buttons, not even a box top. Fact is, you can't buy them anywhere. But you can ask Mom to get you a package of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Inside every package, there's your exclusive prize. Remember, that's P-E-P, Pep, made by Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
Poco, the fat little man who talks in rhyme, is missing. He has mysteriously disappeared from inside the radar rocket and is nowhere to be found. At the moment, Superman is winging high over the bleak, towering mountains of the moon, searching for Poco, while back in the rocket, Professor Twiddle attempts to console Jimmy, whose eyes are flooded with tears.
Don't cry, young man. Please don't cry. I'm certain Superman will find Poco.
If he finds him up in those mountains, it'll be too late.
Too late for what?
Too late to save him. It'll mean that one of those birds flew off with him. Oh, poor Poco, he's gone. He's gone for good.
How on earth... how on the moon did he ever get out of the rocket without our seeing him? We were only a few feet away while we were talking with Superman.
That's why I don't understand it.
If one of those winged mammals had taken off with him, we certainly would have seen it.
Then what happened to him? He couldn't just melt away, could he?
I would hardly think so. But then, on the other hand...
On the other hand, what?
Well, I suppose anything could happen on the moon.
Oh, don't talk like that. We've been here for hours and we haven't melted away.
Perhaps we will. Perhaps the peculiar atmosphere here tends to...
Oh, wait a minute.
Huh?
I thought I heard something. What's that scratching?
Bless my beard, I don't know.
It stopped.
So it did. Very odd.
Professor, do you smell something peculiar?
No, I can't say that I do.
Oh, I certainly do.
Yes. Yes, no, I detect a peculiar odor.
What is it?
I'm quite sure I don't know.
Gosh, something's happening to me. I can't keep my eyes open. I get terribly sleepy.
So am I.
Oh, we better get out of here.
Yes. Yes, we better.
Please, I can't move. Professor.
Bless my beard.
Collapsing on the floor of the rocket, Jimmy and Professor Twiddle drop into a deep, mysterious sleep, almost in the twinkling of an eye. What is this? A new menace that strikes silently and without being seen? Perhaps the same menace that carried off Poco, or made him invisible to the human eye? Well, whatever it is, you'll want to find out. So be sure not to miss tomorrow's exciting episode, when Superman finds a surprise waiting for him. A surprise that comes close to being a disaster. Tune in tomorrow, same time, same station, and follow the adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. Want to hear a scoop? A big scoop of Kellogg news? Well, listen to this. Kellogg's Variety is back. Yes, Kellogg's have scooped 6 of their most famous cereals into this grand variety carton. One carton containing 10 separate generous-sized packages. So now it's easier for Mom. She just gets Kellogg's Variety, and everybody at the breakfast table can eat his favorite cereal fresh from its own box. Makes breakfast more fun than a picnic. Ask Mom right away to get Kellogg's Variety. It's swell, no foolin'. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
You, finding life pretty dull? You, dreaming again of exotic places, wishing you were somewhere else? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Escape with us now to a ship on the high seas and a cargo of mutinous criminals, as Weston Martyr tells it in his gripping story, A Sleeping Draft.
That helps. But it's like I say, you can't forget. You can never forget. It's at night that you think about it, with the water outside rushing past the hull. That's when you think, and it can never be the same. You can't trust anybody. Never. Not a soul. I can tell you, you just can't trust them. Not even yourself. What is it, mister?
Mr. Finch says he's ready to board, sir.
Oh, he is, eh? All right, I'm not stopping him.
Sir.
Yes?
He insists on bringing them aboard one at a time.
What? Does he think I'm going to miss the tide? There's over 400 of them. It'll take hours.
Well, that's what I said, sir, but...
I'm captain of this blasted hulk, what she is, but I'll not be told by a slum-gullion landsman what to do.
Mr. Finch! Come aboard if you please!
I'm sorry, sir. I should have resigned. Stinking, toopy, poor devil cargo.
Everything high cockalorum, Captain?
No, everything is not high cockalorum. What in blazes do you mean ordering my mate about?
No offense intended. And none taken, I hope.
I want those scurvy wretches aboard now. All of them. You put them below and we'll weigh anchor.
One at a time, sir. One at a time. We've got to search them.
Why didn't you do that before you took them out of jail?
There's many a slip, Captain, if you know what I mean. You'd be surprised what those swine can pick up between jail and the docks. It ain't safe. Now, we've got to search them. One at a time, and that's a fact. You let me handle this, Captain. It ain't no ordinary cargo, you know. They're murdering devils. Every last one of them.
The convicts came aboard, one by one. I watched them. They were going from London to a land they'd never seen. A colony had bought them. Australia. 400. The sweepings and scrapings sorted out from the muck of the jails with Finch in charge of them. Oh, I've carried dirty cargoes. Dye wood, for instance, crawling with scorpions and spiders, not to mention snakes. And then there's cattle. But this, weeks and months at sea with a human cargo who'd as soon cut your throat as spit. And what made it worse was, I felt sorry for the poor beggars. I watched them come aboard until there were 2 left.
Name? Wilkes is the name. Search him.
Take your bleeding hands off me. I've got nothing. Just stole my last father and shut your jaw.
That's enough, Finch. I won't have the cat used on my ship. I'll get enough of it where they're going.
You're a trusting soul you are, Captain. How would you like that between your ribs? The touch of the cat's a lot better than letting the swine bring a knife aboard, eh? Take 'em below.
I said, all right.
I don't know how they do it. Help me, I don't. You've got to watch for them knives. Next!
Right.
Oh, here's a terror. Look at the size of it. Dangerous swine. 3 murders in Australia. Escape. He's in for it when he gets back. Name?
Abbey. Jonathan Abbey.
Abbey. Well. A gentleman in chains. I'm sorry, your worship. Forgive us for daring to lay hands on your highness. I'm sure as how you've been wrongly accused.
That's enough, Finch.
Search him. Then take him below. I want Mr. Jonathan Abbey shackled. He's a prize. We mustn't let anything happen to him.
From the day we left London docks, I'd taken a violent dislike to Finch. He seemed to be happiest when he was laying about with his cat on the convicts herded like sheep below decks. He kept them quiet enough, but one night I decided to have it out with him in my cabin. Oh, I made it strong, I can tell you, so that even he could understand what I meant.
You all finished, Captain? All right. Now, you hear me out. They're a bad lot. 400 of them. All bound for Australia, and they don't want to go. You follow me? There's that bloke Abbey. As soon as we touch Sydney, the time's up for him. They'll hang him, sure.
That doesn't mean that you have the right to make life even worse for them here.
Oh, no? If I don't, where do you think we'll be? You, me, your mates. And the crew, well, from what I've seen of them, they're not much better than what's below.
You're doing a lot of jawing, mister.
I am. What would you do if you were down there? I'll tell you. You'd get hold of the ship and clear out. That's what you'd do. And it'd be easy.
They're locked in and we've got a guard.
You don't know them like I do. There's another thing. When I searched them, there was 1 to 5 sovereigns stowed away on every man. Earned or stolen. That'll come to over £1,000 by my figures.
They're entitled to that money. It's little enough to take to a wild country.
It's truth, but there's them down there what would slit the gullet of any man for 2 bob. And you asked me to be dainty with them.
That's the way he talked to me. You know, I can tell you I didn't feel easy anymore. I did something I hadn't done for a long time. I brought 2 pistols out from ship's stores and kept them under my pillow. It was when we got round the Horn that the first convict died. From scurvy. We had to put him over the side, of course, and there was a lot of grousing. I went down to the hold with Finch. It was hot and stinking.
Now, you let me talk to them, Captain. I'll put it to rights.
You tell him it couldn't be helped.
Don't you mind. I'll tell him.
Blimey. Here comes old Bloody Paul. Oi, Finch. Did you steal the clothes off the poor beggar's back before you threw 'em in? Man, we ain't man dirty. We're dogs, haven't you?
Why is the way to bury poor old Smithy in the ground instead of chucking him in the sea? All right. We've got another 2 or 3 weeks before we reach land. I'll make a bargain with you. The next one what dies, now that it's getting nice and hot, I'll leave him down there, and you can take care of him and mourn till we get to Australia. How's that? Half a crown you don't keep him for 3 days.
That's old Bloody Paul. Always a nose for business.
Well, if you ain't satisfied with that, I'll see that the hatch is closed down tight for the rest of the voyage. And you can boil for all of me.
That seemed to settle it for a time. I began to see that in spite of Finch's hardness with them, the prisoners knew he was master and behaved themselves. That is, most of them did. But there were others. And that's what began the trouble. We were 2 days out of the Cook Islands when it happened.
Yes? Captain, there's a man on deck. We brought him up from below. It's horrible.
Why, what's happened?
One of the convicts, sir.
Oh?
All that blood, sir. Oh, devil. I tried to do something, but it was too late. By the time we got him up...
Fight, eh?
Yes, sir.
Here we are, Captain. Mr. Darling ain't much of a surgeon, I must say.
I did what I could. He must have been dead before we got him up here.
Why, he's been cut to pieces.
Not half he ain't.
How did it happen?
Oh, I heard him shouting. When I went down in the hold, there he was, propped up like against the bars, with his arms through holding him up.
He must have been dead. He must have been.
Poor devil.
Oh, him? No, he's dead. There's others in for it, though.
What do you mean?
Well, how'd you think he got cut up like that? Knives, Captain. Knives.
But you searched them before they boarded.
I did, and truth, I don't know how they come to do it. Small knives, Captain. Small knives. We're getting close to Australia. That's what it is. Whoever's got them knives, he's after money. £1,000 or more what's on this cursed ship.
Well, I don't see...
You're a trusting soul, you are, Captain. Maybe there's a dozen of them. Maybe 20 with knives. Follow me? They'll run the others and rob 'em blind. Gold sovereigns, Captain. You didn't forget, did you? If anybody objects, cut him up in small pieces like him.
We've got to go down there and put a stop to it.
Yes, I don't think. How many guns you got aboard?
2 pistols and 4 muskets.
That's a fat lot of good. Oh, well, let's take the sweet with the sour. We can try. There's no harm in that. Mark my words, Captain. Before we get to Sydney, all of us probably will have our throats cut. Come on.
Finch and I, with 2 seamen, armed ourselves and went down into the hold and stood outside the bars. The men inside were quiet. Very quiet. They just looked at us, dark-like.
You, men!
I'll talk to them.
Now listen to me. We know some of you are carrying knives. I want you to throw them out here. Nothing further will be said about it if you do as I say. Well?
Captain, dear, my porridge wasn't hot enough this morning. And please, sir, can I have sugar in it tomorrow?
That ain't the way to talk to this son.
The captain's a gentleman. I'm not. You know me, don't you?
We knows you all right.
You, Abby.
Yes?
I've a mind you're the leader down here.
Good old Abby.
I'm flattered, Mr. Finch, but you forget I'm shackled to my bunk. You saw to that.
You listen to me. I'm giving you till morning to throw them knives out here. Till morning. If every blasted one ain't out of your dirty hands, I'm going to have you flogged. Every ruddy one of you. 50 lashes. You hear me, Mr. Abbey?
I'll think about that.
Till morning. Then 50 lashes. You think about that, Mr. Abbey.
I didn't think they'd give 'em to us that easy, Captain.
There's going to be trouble, though, with this flogging.
There'll be more if we don't get the knives away.
Good morning, Captain Deere and Mr. Finch.
You filthy scum. Where's the knives?
Why, they'll do the most good.
All right. I've given you a chance. I played fair. Now...
Mr. Finch, sir. May I have a word with you?
Oh, come to your senses, have you?
Bend closer to the bar circles. What I've got to say, I've got to whisper.
Well, what is it?
Mr. Finch.
That's 100 lashes. Wilkes, I'll take you first and handle the cat myself.
Oh, no, sir. No. Why not take him first? He won't feel it like I will.
The crowd of men parted suddenly, and from out of them was pushed what had once been a man. It fell against the bars, and then no longer with the support of living arms, it slid to the deck. We looked at him, Finch and me. His life had been worth a sovereign, maybe two. He hadn't either now. And the knives were still in the hole with them that had killed him.
Tonight, some more of radio's greatest stars check in at CBS, the Star's address. The first you'll hear are Amos and Andy, who are going to be on hand with the Kingfish, Shorty the Barber, Algonquin J. Calhoun, and, of course, Sapphire. Then, a little later, Red Skelton. With Joey Adams, Eve Arden, Jack Benny, and Corliss Archer already on hand, be sure you add Amos and Andy and Red Skelton to your Sunday night listening date starting tonight over most of these same CBS stations. And now, we return you to Escape.
Now, as I sees it, we've got to have a council of war, in a manner of speaking.
I'll tell you one thing, Mr. Finch. There'll be no flogging.
I can see you're a sharper, you are. No, that's right. Too dangerous. We ain't armed for it, and they're in a nasty mood. Now, we've got to be crafty, same as them.
I wish we could spill the whole lot of them overside.
Lose your contract for carrying them? Not bloody likely. Now, listen here. I'll get them knives. How? It's Abby behind this. He tells them what's what. Get him out, and the others will come around. Mark my words.
Are you going into the hole to get him?
No, not yet. It wouldn't be safe now. Not for nobody to go in there. But in 4 or 5 days, after we cut off their water and food, seal the hatch, you see what happens.
They die.
Yeah, die from the knives then. Which do you want? They'll be begging you to take the ruddy knives in 3 days.
And if they don't?
We tell them to hand over Abby to us. But he's the one to blame for their misfortune. They'll do it.
All right. If it's the only way, I'll give the order.
But not just yet, Captain. We'll let them sit down there and wonder. Wonder what we're going to do about it. Some of them may get nervous. We'll let them wonder a bit.
I didn't see Finch the rest of the day. The barometer had fallen suddenly, and with it came a storm. I can tell you I had my hands full for the next 24 hours. There was no time to worry about what was going on in the hold of the ship, but I didn't think they'd have much stomach for knifing each other and killing. I was wrong. The next morning at breakfast, Finch didn't turn up. He didn't turn up at all. We searched the whole ship. And then I went down into the hold, and that's where he was. And he hadn't died quickly. Someone had held him against the bars, and the others had... He hadn't died quickly.
Good morning, Captain. Present for you.
Who did this? Who did it?
I wouldn't waste sleep mourning him, Captain. He was a bully, and no better than us, except that he was outside.
Abby, I thought you were shackled.
I was, but Mr. Finch kindly supplied the key to unfasten me.
You're going to pay for this. All of you. Now, where are the knives?
They're in here, Captain. How'd you like to come in and get them?
You'll pay for this!
You're repeating yourself, Captain. Good morning.
That blasted convict had dismissed me. Like I was a clerk in an office. And there wasn't anything I could do about it. With Finch out of the way, They knew I was an easy mark. It was the nights that got on my nerves. I could hear things happening. Lots of things. And it was awful. Those devils with the knives. And each morning we'd have to pull out 6 or a dozen, all cut about and bleeding. And most of them died. Those with the knives were getting money. Money they stole from the victims. I began to be afraid of my crewmen. One would take a bribe and let that murdering crowd out. I walked around with 2 pistols in my jacket all the time. And then, late one afternoon, something very bad happened. I was standing by the wheel. Yeah, here, boss.
He got off, sir.
Got out?
Who? The big one. Heavy. 2 of us were standing guard. We heard a scream. It was Heavy. He said he'd been stabbed. Benson here opened the grill to get him in. Heavy bashed him on the head in both.
What about the others?
I got the grill closed in time. They're safe enough. He must be somewhere on the ship, sir. Unless he went overboard.
No, not that one. He's up to mischief. You take one of my pistols, mister.
Aye, sir.
You, bosun, pass out the muskets. I want every inch of this ship searched. If he puts up a fight, shoot him. Do you hear me? Shoot him! The night comes quickly in southern parts. Did you ever try to search a ship at night with lanterns? It's not easy. Too many shadows, too many sounds which could be rats or a murderer who's bigger than what you are and could choke your life out in half a minute. We couldn't find him. But he was somewhere aboard, waiting his time. Because we were short-handed, what with the crew searching, I stood a watch. And I thought about that man who Finch said had committed 3 murders in Australia.
Don't turn around, Captain. It's only a little knife. Don't move.
What do you want?
A talk.
I've nothing to say to the likes of you.
That may be. But I have an offer to make you.
An offer?
It's not safe here. One of your men will be along. Then we go to your cabin.
Do you think I'd trust a man like you? Alone?
You make it difficult for me. If someone comes, I may have to cut your throat.
I'd as soon have it cut on deck. Now, what do you want?
All right. You know what I'm in for when we reach Sydney.
Finch told me I've no pity for you.
I'm not asking for pity. I have an offer to make.
Then I can do no more than listen.
The men below are planning to take the ship. I don't think they've got a chance, but they'll be killing. Those that have got the knives have got all the money, too. It's £1,200.
I'm aware of that, mister.
I can get the knives for you.
Huh?
All I want is the chance to get away before the ship docks.
How do you know? How do I know it's not a trick?
Turn around, Captain. Here, my knife. Will that convince you? I'm unarmed. You must have a pistol. You can shoot me if you want.
What makes you think that you can get the knives away from them?
I can. That's all you need to know, but...
But?
Will you help me?
How can I trust you?
I don't know, Captain. Except that I think you do.
I couldn't help you openly, you know that. You were put aboard as a murderer. You're in my charge, and it's my job to turn you over to the police as soon as we arrive.
Then,
Well, if you could get the knives, though, I might be able to give you a chance to clear out.
That's all I want, the chance.
All right.
I must have a pistol.
What?
A pistol.
You take me for a fool.
No, it's the only way to get the knives.
I give you this pistol and you shoot me down? Look, not likely.
Captain, if I'd wanted to do that, I'd have cut your throat 2 minutes ago.
You're a murderer.
I know.
You can't have it.
It's either them or your ship, and probably your life. Well?
You talk like a gentleman, but suppose you want my pistol so that you can free them.
You just have to trust me as I'd trust you to give me a chance to get away.
Take it. Here.
What about the guards below? They'll shoot.
I'll take you down. Say I caught you.
How do I get out again when I've got the knives?
Send word that you want to see me.
All right. Captain, I'm trusting you now. I want that chance to get away.
We'll talk about it if you get the knives. I'll take you below now and come back tomorrow.
Keep your voice low. They think I'm tricking you into making a bargain. They think I stole the pistols. I told them that I had to have the knives to make you believe that we wouldn't make trouble. I said that we'd take over the ship tonight.
What do you want me to do?
Leave me the key to the grill. I'll slip out tonight and bring you the knives.
They'll want you to let them out, too.
No, I won't. I'll lock it.
How do I know you will?
You don't. You'll have to trust me.
Do they know about this plan?
All except for the fact that I'm going to lock them in once I'm out.
Give me the knives now.
No. They'd know something was wrong. I'd never get out alive. Give me the key.
All right. Here.
All right. Tonight.
I waited. And I can tell you that I didn't like it. The wind came up a bit, and I knew that before sunrise we would be in Sydney. That is, if I should trust a murderer. At 10 o'clock that night, there was a tap on my cabin door.
One of your crew nearly caught me coming down here. Well, I've kept my side of the bargain. Yeah. Oh, they're all there. You needn't worry. Yeah, here's your pistol.
You may need it.
Thanks. Now, how do I get away?
We'll be in port in about 6 hours if the wind holds. You stay aft in the longboat. When you hear the anchor go, drop over the side and swim for it. I'll try to anchor as close to land as possible before I take her in.
If I can land without being seen, I've got some friends who will hide me.
I don't want to know about it. Just remember, when the anchor's lets go, that's your signal.
Thank you, Captain. I trust you. And, I'd like to shake hands with you.
I took the hand of the murderer, and we shook hands like old friends. And then he was gone. 2 hours later, the wind went down, and in its place came fog. Thick, mucky fog. I had my hands full, what with danger from other ships and the blasted current that knocks you about off the harbor entrance. And by 3 o'clock, the fog had shut in properly, and the blessed tide ran us all over the place. It was proper dangerous, I can tell you. We were about 15 miles offshore, and I didn't like the looks of things. There's shoals thereabout, and I sent the mate for it to heave the lead. I got a proper start when I heard him sing out, We'd got off course right enough, and at this rate, we'd shear the bottom clean off her. I saw it was high time to bring the ship up and wait until we could see something.
Let go of the anchor! Let go of the anchor! Give her 35 fathoms to the water's edge, bosun. Horse up!
None too soon, sir. She was shoaling fast.
Blasted current must be making 5 knots out to sea. Listen to her.
She's holding, sir!
The anchor! The anchor!
Abby!
I went to the longboat. It was empty. He'd heard the signal as the anchor paid out. He couldn't see in the fog and had gone overboard into a 5-knot tide running straight out to sea, 15 miles from shore. He trusted me. That's why I tell you, you shouldn't trust anybody. Sometimes it's hard sleeping at night. When you hear the water outside and you think, that's when it's hard to sleep.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Today we have brought you A Sleeping Draught by Weston Martyr, adapted for radio by Anthony Ellis, with Ben Wright starred as Captain Godfrey. Featured in the cast were John Dodsworth, Bruce Payne, Anthony Barrett, John Boehner, and Lou Krugman. Special music was arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars.
Next week, escape with us to a train rushing through a European night and a beautiful woman who demands your help. As Anthony Ellis tells it in his exciting story, Roulette.
Escape is the first in a series of CBS features recently programmed for your Sunday afternoon listening. Later this afternoon, you'll hear Make Believe Town, a series of dramas set in Hollywood with Mr. Walter Wanger as your host. Later, you will hear on most of these same CBS stations the first Sunday broadcast of Arthur Godfrey's Digest, a half hour of the cream of wit and humor from the Redheads weekday show on CBS. Earn Your Vacation also returns to CBS this Sunday afternoon. And starting next Sunday, Frank Sinatra checks in again at CBS, the Star's address, with his new hour-long radio program, so be sure to listen for Frank Sinatra. Stay tuned now for Make Believe Town with Mr. Walter Wanger as your host, which follows over many of these same stations. This is Roy Rowan speaking. This is CBS, where you enjoy the Contented Hour every Sunday night, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
You, finding life pretty dull? Dreaming again of exotic places? Wishing you were somewhere else? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Escape with us now to a train rushing through a European night and a beautiful woman who demands your help, as Anthony Ellis tells it in his exciting story, Roulette.
Le numéro 12, au noir. Ah, ben alors, c'est bien, ça, je vous dis franchement,
Well, I'm afraid I haven't done in, Mr. McLennan.
Nay, laddie, let me.
Oh, thanks awfully, sir, but no.
Usher, it's against the laws of nature that the good Scot should gamble in the first place, so a few francs lent will only increase the McLennan clan's aggravation. You'll oblige me?
Very decent of you, Mr. McLennan, but I really couldn't.
Will you be leaving Monte Carlo?
Yes, Paris for 2 or 3 days, then the holiday's over.
Oh, you have the fare?
Yes, thanks.
Good, good. I expect to go to Paris myself in a couple of days. If you're still there, I wish you'd give me a ring. At George Sand.
Oh, I shall. Well, good luck at the wheel.
Ah, roulette. The game for idiots, except I cannot lose. Good luck to you, Richard.
I'd been spending the summer holidays on a cycling tour of France. Father had insisted. Said it was part of my education. After 3 weeks, I'd seen half the cathedrals in the country and had developed a healthy loathing for bicycles as well. So, when I reached Avignon, I sold mine to a chap who was obliging enough to pay me far more than the blasted thing was worth. I knew the family at home would be terribly upset. But after all, I was 20, and I thought it was about time that they realized it. Trinity College was then 2 weeks away, and I decided, with the bicycle money, to have a lark in Monte Carlo. That's where I met Mr. McLennan. He was awfully decent, showed me about the place and chucked money about marvelously. I thought he was probably in some sort of black market business because he seemed quite hush-hush about everything. I had smashing luck the first 2 or 3 days at the casino, and then, well, as Father always said, gambling weakens the mind as well as the purse. When I left the roulette wheel that evening, I had just enough money for fare to Paris and home. There was a breeze blowing from the Mediterranean as I walked to my hotel. It was lovely. And I didn't have a care in the world.
Monsieur, please.
What?
Please, may I speak to you for a moment?
Oh, I say. Me? Oh, I say.
I must talk to you.
Really?
I was watching you tonight at the casino. You lost your money, didn't you?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
What would you say if I told you you could get it back and more? 50,000 francs.
50,000?
Please, we cannot talk here. Is there somewhere?
Well, yes, there's a cafe across the street.
No, it's too dangerous. Somewhere that people are not.
That people are not?
You are at a hotel.
Oh, yes. But wouldn't that be rather... Well, I mean...
You must trust me. I'm in desperate danger. Please, hurry. We will go to your hotel.
It was a devilish awkward situation. I mean, taking a girl to one's hotel room, it simply isn't done. And I hated to think what Father would say. On the other hand, one couldn't let a lady down. Especially her. She was beautiful. She was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. And she was very frightened.
I will have a drop of brandy, if you don't mind.
No, not at all. Would you like to take your coat off?
In a little while. I'm cold.
Well, you'll feel better in no time. Here we are.
Thank you.
I say, that's quite good. It always chokes me to do that.
You're being very kind, Mr.
Oh, I'm frightfully sorry. My name is Richard Ferris.
I am Tina Vallon.
What a charming name. I mean, it goes, rather.
It is not my true name.
Oh?
Mr. Ferris, I do not wish to sound melodramatic, but I need help so terribly.
Oh, I'm awfully sorry. Really, I am. If there's anything
but
that
there is. I must go to Ankara.
Turkey?
It is of the utmost importance. And there are men who will stop at nothing to prevent me.
But why? I mean...
I cannot tell you.
Well, what about the police?
I cannot go to them. There would be questions which I may not answer.
Oh, I see.
Mr. Ferris, when I saw you this evening at the casino, I said to myself that here was a man I could trust. He's young, English, and a gentleman.
Oh, I say.
But he has lost his money at Roulette. I will make it a business transaction, Mr. Ferris. Take me safely to Ankara, and I will give you 50,000 francs.
Well, I'd love to, really, but... Well, you see, next week I have to be in school. Oh, that is college. Trinity. Cambridge, you know.
Here, Mr. Ferris. Richard. 10,000 francs. The rest at Ankara. Please.
Well, it's not the money. Really?
Don't you see? They might not dare if someone like you were protecting me.
Well...
Take the money. It is a business transaction. Take it. I beg you to do this for me.
Well, I feel like a cad. Taking money from... Well, I mean... She was very close to me. And I saw that she was quite a bit older than I was. 26, possibly 8. Oh, but very beautiful. I realized how serious the thing was. After all, it could mean life or death to me, too. One must be practical. So I took the money. I packed my traveling case, and together we left the hotel. On the way to the station, I bought a pistol, as it seemed the thing to do. Tina had decided to take the train as far as Genoa, and then change for Naples, where we could catch the boat for Turkey. If someone was following us, he didn't allow himself to be seen, and we managed to find ourselves a compartment alone. Well, here we are. You comfortable?
Yes, thank you. Would you be kind enough to draw the shades?
Rather. I say, Miss Bellon.
Please call me Tina.
Tina? Here. Have a look out of the window for a sec. Those two chaps standing outside.
Draw the shades, quickly.
Now stay looking. Are those the ones?
Yes. I hoped that we could escape them. They will be on the train now.
Yes, I'm afraid so.
At what time do we arrive in Genoa?
2:15. That's tomorrow morning. We have a 10-minute wait before the Naples train leaves.
I do not think that they will attempt anything while we are still in France. But once we cross the border...
Look here now. You're going to be absolutely safe with me. I don't want you to worry. I may look young, but I've had a great deal of experience. That is, well, I play rugby at school, and well, I can manage things perfectly.
I'm sure you can, Richard. That is why I wanted you to help me.
We settled down for the run to Genoa, and Tina dozed off. I just sat and looked at her. She was very lovely. Everything about her. I couldn't make up my mind where she came from. Oh, not that it mattered. But I wondered for a moment if Father would have approved. After all, she wasn't English. We'd been traveling for about 2 hours and a half when the trouble began. Yes?
Mr. Ferris?
Yeah? Who is it?
May I have a word with you, please?
I should say not.
It would be advisable.
Now hop it, or I'll ring for the conductor.
This is not your concern, Mr. Ferris. We have no desire to harm you.
Oh, I'll bet you haven't.
Just tell the lady that it is a long way to Ankara.
Have they gone?
Yes, I think so.
They will try again.
Look, it really isn't any of my business, I suppose, but... Well, what is it you've done? Why should they want to kill you?
Let us say that I know something that is very important.
But you're so... Well, I mean... Well, how did you ever get into a muddle like this?
For love, Richard.
Oh.
Of my country.
I think that a man would be very fortunate if you ever loved him enough to have a look like that in your eyes.
Perhaps someday I shall look at a man like that. You're sweet, Richard. Now I want you to have some rest. If anything happens, I'll wake you.
Oh, I say I couldn't. Why, they may try.
I don't think so. But if they do, I have this.
I say, you're not afraid of anything, are you? Well, night-night. Wake me up when we get to Genoa.
Hello. You look rested.
Hello. Anything stirring?
While you slept, I have been thinking.
What?
This is a great deal that I ask you to do for me. Even for 50,000 francs.
Oh, but I wanted to.
If you wish to turn back when we reach Genoa.
I wouldn't think of it.
I will not think of you as a coward. It is not your affair. And you are in danger, too.
And as you said, it's a business arrangement. 50,000 francs, I'll take you to Ankara.
Is it so easy to put a price on your life?
No, but I wouldn't want you to be harmed.
You are a very odd young man, Richard Ferris.
Oh, I'm not really so young, you know. I just look it. Oh, hello, we're in. Come along. We've got to get that Naples train. Now stay close behind me. No, thank you. Can you see them?
No.
Well, we'll follow the crowd. I don't think they'll try to stop us as long as we're with people. It happened very quickly. We were crossing the station to the platform where the Naples train was standing. Suddenly, from somewhere out of the crowd, a man lurched towards us. He took me unaware, and before I knew it, he was just moving to the side.
So sorry. How clumsy of me. Allow me to pick up your portmanteau.
As he bent down, the blighter hooked an arm around my leg, and I was down.
Mind your business, you fool.
I will. And you, sir, mind yours. It was a frightfully stupid thing for me to do, and obviously what they'd hoped for. In half a tick, a Gilbert and Sullivan constable appeared. But there was nothing comic opera about the way he took me in charge. I was manacled and on my way to jail. And in 7 minutes, the Naples train was to leave. I looked about wildly for Tina, but she was gone. And so was the man I had knocked down.
CBS wishes to remind you that two of its top comedy shows have returned for another great season. The Sunday night Amos and Andy and Red Skelton shows. Both programs are heard on most of these same CBS stations. Be listening tonight and every Sunday night this season for Red Skelton and Amos and Andy at CBS, the Stars Address. And now we return you to Escape.
I was taken to a booth at the end of the station and brought before a gentleman dressed in a uniform that I judged to be at least that of a general. The arresting constable spent 2 minutes pouring out my crimes, whilst the general, who looked like a bandit, but spoke like one of my professors, listened.
So, and your name is Richard Ferris?
My dear sir, my passport says so. Now, can't I pay the fine? It's ever so urgent that I catch the Naples train.
You English. What would you do if there was no fare to go?
I hardly see that it concerns you.
You are not serious, my young friend. This is a serious matter. One cannot stride around Genoa striking innocent citizens.
Innocent? Well, I'll be blowed. He asked for it. Now, why wasn't he arrested, I should like to know?
Yours was the offense for striking without provocation.
Without... All right, then. All right, I'm sorry. I was wrong, quite wrong. But the train, now let me pay the fine. Anything, please. I must catch that train.
One must consider the magnitude of the offense.
Don't you understand? It's a matter of life and death.
Life and death?
Well, not exactly. You see, it's my wife. Yes, my wife. We're on our honeymoon.
But why did you not tell me this before? It makes a difference.
Well, in 2 minutes it won't. Not if I miss the train.
50 lire fine and a warning.
50 lire. How much is that in francs?
Frank, let me see. The rate of exchange
look,
now...
Here you are. 500. That should manage. And thanks most awfully. You're very kind. It must have been enough, because they didn't shoot at me as I ran back down the station and to the Naples train platform. I looked at the station clock. 1 minute. I didn't want to take a chance of getting aboard, and yet Tina might have. I dashed to the waiting room, and as I did so, I saw the two men through the window. They were pacing up and down inside, back and forth before a door. It was the ladies' lounge. Devilish clever girl. I should have known she would manage alone. And at that moment, as the whistle blew, she ran out. Tina, this way. Don't be afraid. They won't dare. You see, they've slowed down already. They're pretending not to see us. Hurry up. Any carriage will do. We'll find our own once we're aboard.
Richard, you would have been better off with the police.
Oh, not me. There we are. Look at your friends.
Yes, but I'm afraid we haven't got rid of them so easily. How did you manage to get away from the police?
It was simple. I said we were on our honeymoon.
Oh. Now that you are here, I'm glad.
Well, I couldn't let you down, you know. I mean, well, I'm awfully keen about you see.
I understand. And I want to tell you something, because I trust you.
Yes.
If I do not reach Ankara, it is possible that you will.
Oh, no, you mustn't even think of that.
They will try to stop us again, possibly before we get to Naples, but most certainly on the boat. Perhaps they will not succeed, but if I cannot, I want you to take a message for me.
Righto. Count on me.
You must go to the Ministry of War. There is a man there named Batiste. Tell him you come from me.
Yes?
Tell him that the blow must fall no later than the 9th. The place will be wrestling.
Only that?
Richard, what I have told you is the information that can mean death for both of us.
And that's why they want to stop you. Because of that message.
A message which means defeat for our enemies.
What bounders? I mean the chap sending someone like you to do their dirty work. Oh, why couldn't you write or send a cable?
There are people in our government who are not to be trusted. If the message fell into the wrong hands...
Yes, I see.
Now you know.
By Jove, you really are. You're quite a girl.
And you, Richard, are quite a man.
It was somewhere between Campiglia and Grosseto that the emergency cord was pulled and the train came to a stop. I looked through a crack in the drawn shade. It was dark outside, but 100 yards away, I could see the headlights of a car, and moving toward the train, 3 or 4 bouncing dots of torch beams.
What is it? Can you see anything?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. We're in for it.
What do you think we're up to?
Wait.
Senor, this is the conductor. Open, please.
We'll have to use the window. Come on.
Senor!
I'll go first, then you jump. I'll catch you. Righto, jump!
There's the car over there. There's a searchlight.
Duck down. Now, those bushes, down the line. Try not to make any noise. Oh, that's torn it. Come on, run! As we ran, I heard a voice shouting for us to stop, and another telling them not to shoot. Now, that was strange, and I wondered why they wanted us alive. We kept going until we found a dirt road about a quarter of a mile away. It was very dark, but through some trees I saw a glimmer of light that looked like a house. We stumbled across a field to it.
It is going to be difficult. They must know the country. Well,
if I can rouse someone at that farm, I'll get our bearings.
Is it wise?
There's no other way. You might find a car there.
Wait a moment.
What's the matter?
I thought I heard. There, you see, coming up the road.
Like hounds and hares, eh? Well, they can't drive across the field. Come on.
Would it be wiser if we parted? One of us would have a chance to get through.
Not yet. Oh, blast. They must have seen us. You all right?
Yes.
Oh, if we could just get a car.
Look. Behind us, torches.
3, 4, 5. Possibly one stay behind the car. Your friends have got quite an army.
What are we going to do?
I don't know yet.
Sì, cosa vuole? Cosa vuole?
We need help. Have you got a car?
Non capisco, signore, no?
Oh, these foreigners. Look, do you see this? A gun. Bang, bang. Do you understand?
Madonna mia!
Now look, you say nothing. You haven't seen us.
Cosa? He doesn't understand.
Well, he knows what a gun is. That's all that matters. Come on. We'll stay behind this door. If he makes a sound... You there. Quiet. Say nothing. Shh. You may have to use guns, Tina.
I'm ready.
Why can't they open it? Open! Open! Yes, that's right.
Via Cherry, signore. Here, come per due omine. Hai visto qualche persona?
2 persone? No, non se ne stanno qui, no.
Una signora e un signore inglese.
No, nessuno.
Non scrive. Potrà avere sua permissione di cercare?
Ma me l'ha dato, non sono nessuno, signore.
Forse sono. Voglio cercare?
Sicuro, sì.
Grazie, buonanotte.
Buonanotte, signore, buonanotte.
Oh, good chap. Thanks. Here you are. I hope we didn't inconvenience you.
Ma cosa fa? Andate via, per piacere.
Tina, have a look through the curtains, will you?
I can't see two. No, 3 of them. Moving off.
Now, the others may have gone to the back. Signor.
Sì.
Do you own a car?
Ma cosa? Non capisco, signore.
What is my Latin? A car. Do you follow?
No, signore, no, non capisco.
They're gone. I can't see them now.
Well, we better make a run for it. If we can reach their car before they do, we might have a chance. I say, blow out the lamp before I open the door, will you? We mustn't attract any attention here. Yeah, that's it. Well, off we go. Now remember, no sound, signor. Bang, bang, if you do.
Molto bene, signore. Sì.
You ready? Yes. Right. It was as easy as pie. They must have believed the old boy's story, because as Tina and I doubled back across the meadow, we saw a couple of torches bobbing about near the barn. The question now seemed to be, did they have a man guarding the car. We came to the road and stopped.
There, I see one. Watch. You can make out the cigarette. He's leaning against the mud guard.
Yes. Oh, stay here, Tina. It's all right, Tina. Put him to sleep. Hop in.
Put up your hands, buddy boy, and you too, miss. We want to have a little talk with you both.
The searchlight had been switched on and was blinding, but I could hear well enough, and I knew that voice. It was Mr. McLennan, my friend in Monte Carlo. Mr. McLennan. Well, now I understood why they'd let us escape from the farmhouse so easily.
You haven't been in the business as long as I have, Richard. I knew the old man was lying about not seeing you, and I expected you tried to get her motor. You did.
Well, what do you intend to do?
Ask the young lady if she knows.
Oh, it's going to be that, eh?
You should have known better. But I'm sorry you got yourself concerned in the matter. I rather liked you.
Look here. I've got some money. Why not let her go? You can hold me.
Oh, you are a very young man, aren't you? We're not interested in you, Richard. It's the girl we're after. I suppose she's told you, though.
Told me?
Of course she has.
Oh, what a scoundrel you are. A renegade Englishman. What difference does it make to you whose side you're on? You're being paid. Well, we'll pay you, too.
Man, you don't understand. It matters a great deal whose side I'm on. She told you to take a message to the man in the Ministry of War if she didn't get through.
No.
What's his name?
This is absolute Tommy Rock.
Oh, what a porridge head. Ask your friend where she comes from.
It doesn't make the slightest difference.
Oh, then let me tell you. She's Romanian, Maria Olescu. We've been after her for 3 years. You're the one who's working for the wrong side. Poor chap you bashed on the head is a Turkish military agent. And so were the men on the train.
You expect me to believe that?
I don't care whether you do or not. But here, have a look at my card if you like.
Alistair McLennan, military intelligence, British warden.
Well?
It's a fraud.
Why do you think we didn't have the police stop you both in Gentleman? We couldn't, because this thing you've got by the tail is too big. It mustn't get out. You know what war is, Richard.
Do you expect me to answer that?
If your message gets through, we may have one. Very soon. Our department thinks that this girl has the word for the assassination of someone in Turkey very high up. You have that message, too, haven't you? Haven't you?
Tina?
It's all true, Richard. Everything that he says. It's too late now, anyway. I'm sorry.
But, Tina, you mean that all this time...
What was the message?
Well, I was supposed to contact a man named Bardiz and say that the blow must fall no later than the night. The place will be Resolin.
He did not know, Mr. McLennan. Please, believe me. I told him that you were trying to prevent me from reaching Ankara. He didn't know.
I'll take your word for it. But we'll have to hold him until after the 9th, just to be on the safe side.
I say, Mr. McLennan, you must think I'm an awful fool.
No, laddie boy. Just awfully young. Next time you'll know better than to help a beautiful woman in distress.
They took us back to Paris. And during the whole journey, Tina didn't speak a word. Just looked out of the window. I thought of my family, of Trinity College, and England. But none of them seemed particularly important now. Only she seemed important. And I wondered what would become of her. And then, as they took Tina away, she turned to me and smiled. It was a smile that I'd seen only once before. And she spoke of love of her country. But this time, she was looking at me.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Today we have brought you Roulette by Anthony Ellis, with Terry Kilburn starred as Richard. Featured in the cast were John Daner, Alberto Morin, Georgia Ellis, Lou Krugman, and Edgar Barrier. Special music was arranged and played by Ivan Dittmar.
Next week, escape with us to a puppet kingdom in the heart of the Belgian Congo, and a man who challenged that kingdom because of a dream.
Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy check in at CBS, the Star's Address, tonight, bringing with them their very special guest, Jane Wyman. Stay tuned now for Make Believe Town, which follows immediately over most of these same stations. James Matthews speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Checks, rice checks, and good hot Ralston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy are approaching a building where the Secretary General's daughter, Carol, is held captive. Suddenly, they become aware of a painful, tingling sensation and a ringing in their ears.
It's hard to walk. It feels like a big weight on me.
Yeah, I can hardly move. Happy. Nora's using some kind of a ray on us.
Paralyzer ray?
It's worse than that. Doing an ultrasonic beam. Run back to the ship. Get out of its range quickly.
I can't.
Happy, get up. Here, I'll help you.
I can't even crawl. My head, there's 1,000 needles in it.
If we don't get out of that beam, it'll shake us to pieces.
We'll be back in just a moment with today's Space Patrol story, The Sleepwalker. And now, gang, here's some terrific news. Here's how to get a pair of the Space Patrol Space Binoculars, the most unusual binoculars ever designed. You wear them like official outer space headgear. That's right. A strong elastic band holds them snugly to your eyes, leaving your hands absolutely free. Now, these are not flimsy celluloid goggles, not a mask. They're the real McCoy. Big, full-size, solid plastic binoculars you can see way off in the distance with. Overall, they're a complete 5 inches in width, a complete 5 inches in length. And when you wear them, they stand out a full 3.5 inches from your eyes. Powerful? Oh, you bet. These are 4 power binoculars with 4 fixed-focus, pure lucite lenses. You can spot airplanes in the sky, watch for your dad coming home from work, read signs way off in the distance. Truly, the greatest Space Patrol value in all our experience. The most sensational offer we have ever made. Now, here's how to get a pair. Buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. If you don't agree that your space binoculars are absolutely tops, return them and the Ralston Company will cheerfully refund your money. The address again is Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. 2 hours ago, in the Neptune City office of Interplanetary Transport Service, a small white light on a control panel flickered and changed to red. A few seconds later, the traffic supervisor of the big private passenger service clicked on his spaceophone.
Space Patrol Search Command. This is the Interplanetary Transport Service Neptune office. Our ITS passenger ship M157 is overdue on 2 quarter-hour message to base reports. This ship last reported at 17:45 Universal Star Time on regular Terra-Neptune space lane, 900,000 VUs out of Neptune, and has not reported to Space Control Terra. This office requests...
Within minutes, Space Patrol Search Command ships fanned out from Neptune, sensitive viewscopes scanning space for the missing passenger ship. 90 minutes later, in Commander Corey's central office on Terra, Cadet Happy sits before a spaceophone, tensely waiting a report from Neptune.
Happy. Nothing new so far, sir. Cut down the amplifier. Thanks. I've just got a report from the Communications Center from the Space Patrol Search Unit. They found the N-157 out beyond the Neptune orbit. What was wrong, Commander? Passengers and crew had been mysteriously put to sleep. Sleep? Why? Cover a robbery, it seemed. Well, was the thief still aboard? No, we don't know yet. Chances are he was working with a Confederate who met the passenger ship out in space and took the thief aboard. But we know what's missing. One of the passengers who was the first to revive is making quite a disturbance about it. Can't say that I blame him. He lost 500,000 credits. 500,000? Wow. Well, that's partly his own fault. He had them packed in an ordinary suitcase and didn't even ask for a guard. Well, why in the universe was he carrying that much money around? He's a space construction contractor named Reese Bixby. Took over the government artificial satellite job after the other contracting firm defaulted. Oh, yeah. He's the man who boasted he could finish the satellites within 6 months. He can probably do it, too. Fortunately, he's a much better space engineer than he was a guard of his money. Well, the money isn't hid aboard the ship, then, huh? Apparently not. Ship has been searched. The only clue so far is that 2 passengers are missing. You don't know who they are until all the passengers revive, so interplanetary transport can check the passenger list. And then we'll know who's missing and who took the money. Unless the thieves were traveling under assumed names, which they probably were. To me, this looks like the work of the sleepwalker. Oh, the crook who's been stealing plant payrolls by putting people to sleep. Right. Up till now, at least he hasn't committed any other form of robbery. It seems that this sleepwalker walks in other people's sleep. That he does.
Interplanetary Transport Service, Neptune office, calling Commander Corey, Space Patrol Headquarters, Terra.
Corey here, go ahead.
This is Interplanetary Traffic Supervisor Jenkins, Commander. The 2 missing passengers are a man and a woman. The man is listed on the roster as William Knight.
And the woman?
My assistant is checking the names now, Commander. Hurry with that, please.
William Knight. Make a note of that, Happy. Yes, sir.
I have the other name, Commander. I can't believe this.
What is it, Jenkins?
The missing woman is the Secretary General's daughter, Carol Carlisle.
What?
It was on the amended passenger list, a last-minute change transmitted from Terra, which is why we were so long in finding out.
Jenkins, stand by for further instructions.
Yes, Commander.
Happy, get the ship ready. We're blasting off from Neptune immediately.
I wish we'd get a report from the Neptune Search Command, sir.
Well, by this time, the other ship could be thousands of VUs away, huh?
And we haven't the slightest idea of what kind of ship to look for.
Carol shouldn't have made a trip without notifying the Space Patrol.
Carol calling Commander Corey. Carol calling Commander Corey.
On the miniature spaceophone channel. Carol, thank goodness you're safe.
Oh, gosh. I was taken off of a passenger ship inside the Neptune orbit.
Yes, we know that. Happy and I are headed for Neptune now. Where are you?
In the aft compartment of a private cruiser, Class C.
Do you know the registry number?
Yes, it's PCV-85. I got a look at it when it joined airlocks with the passenger ship.
Then you weren't affected by the sleep gas?
No, I was in my compartment. When I came out, a man grabbed me and forced me to the other ship.
Well, what man? What's his name?
Well, he was one of the passengers. His partner calls him Woody. Woody Knorr.
Who's his partner?
He was piloting the private cruiser. His name is Bob Morgan.
You know where they're taking you?
No, all I know is someone's coming.
Hide your miniature spaceophone, Carol, but leave it on. Corey out.
I've changed vector toward their position, sir.
Good, Happy. Increase our acceleration to 4G.
We came in to have a little chat with you, miss. What's your name?
You mean you don't know?
Why should we? It was the money we were after.
Yeah, it's too bad you weren't in the lounge with the rest of the passengers. Or maybe it's a good thing. How would you like to join up with us?
Yeah, we can make it very profitable for you. Nice-looking kid like you would go far in our organization.
Why, of all the insulting...
So you want to play rough, huh? Well, I'll be glad to oblige you.
Let go of me!
Let her alone, Morgan. Just get her identification.
No dame's going to slap me and get away with it.
Send me her purse.
Oh, all right, Woody. Hey, look at that bracelet on her arm. Jupiter Emerald. I bet they bring in a few credits. Must be some big shot's daughter. I've changed my mind, Woody. This dame is an extra bonus.
Shut up, Morgan. Do you know who we got here? It's the Secretary General's daughter, Carol. Of all the passengers in the ship we have to trip, the one who could give us the most trouble.
Let's go back and take her out front so we can watch her every second.
They've left the compartment. You hear the sound of their rockets in the spacer phone. The ship will be easy to follow on our viewscope finder.
I've got a rough 3-point fix on their trajectory. If they keep on that vector, it'll bring them close to Venus.
Gotta cut down the distance between their ship and ours. If we don't get them in the viewscope before they land and cut their rockets, we'll lose them.
All right, Morgan, set her down.
Venus. By the looks of the landscape, we're near the Southwest Sea, close to the Tycho Mountain.
That's right, Miss Carlyle. Nobody will ever find this hideout. Cut your rockets, Morgan, and don't overshoot the rocket port. You take the money. I'll handle the girl. Come on, we got to decide what to do with you. All right. Just sit down and relax, miss.
Yeah, you can watch us count the money.
We got to reach a decision right away.
What do you suggest?
Well, we can't keep her here, and we can't turn her loose. She knows too much.
Well, there's only one thing. Do away with it.
Yeah. But so far, we never had to resort to anything so drastic.
That's our own fault.
My fault. Just how do you figure that?
You just keep out of this. Just leave it to a woman to spoil a man's perfect record of crime without violence. Me, put in order the sleepwalker. I pulled off dozens of robberies and never even had to slug anybody.
I've got it. You can take some of this money and hire somebody else to take care of it.
Morgan, if you know code of ethics, the principle is the same.
Ethics.
Now listen, spaceship.
It's a space patrol ship.
It's Terra 5, Commander Corey's ship.
Blast him. How did he train us here?
What are we going to do?
Take it easy. I'll turn on the ultrasonic beam.
What will that do?
Just once. I've got a scanning device on the roof. It revolves slowly. And when a beam is interrupted by a moving object, ultrasonic waves are focused on it.
Ultrasonic waves? What do they do?
Well, first they affect the nervous system. They paralyze any living thing within range. The more the victim moves, the more intense the vibration becomes. There is no escape.
Oh, no.
Finally, the vibration acts on the flesh like a million tiny scalpels. I won't use it, except that I'm forced to in self-defense.
Stop showing how much you know. Let's get this over with.
All right, come to the window if you'd like to.
I thought I saw somebody at the window up there in the hideout, Commander. They've seen us.
Keep your ray gun on that source. We're happy.
Suppose they start firing at us.
You may be taking them by surprise. Not? Well, what do you know? He's never used physical violence before in his other crime.
Let's hope he doesn't start now.
If you come up here ready to shoot, he may get panicky and harm Carol. Probably figures his own best chance is to...
Commander, I feel sort of funny.
Oh, a tingling sensation.
There's a ringing in my ears. Do you notice it?
It's not exactly a sound yet.
Hey, is this uphill or something? Hard to walk. It feels like a big weight was put on me.
Golly, move. Happy. Nora's using some sort of ray on us.
Paralyzer ray.
Oh, it's worse than that. Look up there on the roof. See that big metal cone?
Following us.
We're in an ultrasonic beam. Get back to the ship, Happy. Get out of its range quickly. Happy, get out. Here, I'll help you.
Oh, Commander, I can't even crawl. My head, it feels like it's got 1,000 needles in it.
If we don't get out of this beam, it's going to shake us to pieces. We'll be back with Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, gang, listen to this. Poor old motor. It's got nothing to go on but ordinary fuel. I say, but listen to this. Wow, there's a motor that's supercharged. Got super fuel in it, that's why. Now, gang, you know the same is true of you. When you have ordinary fuel for breakfast, what are you? Just a putt-putt. But when you have super fuel for breakfast, well, that's when you can be a super somebody, because you're supercharged.
So, gang, eat the super fuel Buzz Corey has in the morning. A power breakfast with wheat Chex or rice Chex, the bite-sized super cereals. Good? Ah, wait till you try them. The swellest tasting cereals in the universe. And the only cereals in the universe with that modern bite-sized design. So don't be a putt-putt. Be a super somebody. Eat a breakfast that supercharges you. A power breakfast with the super cereals Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. Woody Knorr and Bob Morgan have stolen 500,000 United Planets credits from a passenger ship and abducted the Secretary General's daughter, Carol, because she was the only person aboard the spaceship who could identify them. However, Buzz and Happy were able to follow the thieves' spaceship by tracing through Carol's miniature spaceophone. As the commander and his cadet walked toward Knorr's hideout on Venus, Knorr turned on an ultrasonic beam. The beam could first paralyze and then destroy them. Right now, barely able to move, Buzz and Happy lie on the ground as the high-frequency sound vibrations rack them with pain.
Maybe we can roll away from the beam, sir.
It's getting more intense. In a few seconds, we'll be completely paralyzed.
Our ray guns, maybe we can hit the cone.
Ray guns wouldn't affect it. Wait a minute. That cone tracked us, followed us.
Yes, sir.
It must be controlled by an electric eye. If we can blind that eye.
Blind it? You mean throw something at it?
No. Our atomolites. Shine your atomolite on the round unit on top of the cone. I'll use mine, too.
If I can move my arm.
Got to, Happy. Quickly, while we're able to move at all.
I'm getting it good. My hand is shaking so much I can't hold the beam steady.
It's working, though. My beam's in focus.
Yeah, I've got it, sir. The cone's turning all around, back and forth and up and down.
We've confused it. Keep your atomolite on it, though. It'll find us again. Can you get up, Happy?
Pretty shaky, but I'll try.
Keep your light steady. That's it.
Wow. I'm as wobbly as a burned-out rocket.
Come on. We've got to get in there before Noah thinks up something else. This time we won't hesitate to use our ray gun.
They're getting up.
You might as well give up. Buzz and Happy are more than a match for you two.
Shut up. We're not through yet. Morgan, you hold him up. I'll take the girl and the money. We'll keep out the back way.
Oh, sure. Leave me to face the music alone. Nothing doing.
Well, we both can't get away. And if I have the girl, I can force Corey to let you go.
How do I know you'll do it?
Don't argue, you fool. Corey and the cadet are pretty shaky from the sonic beam. You can handle them. I'll take Corey's ship, and when you get out, you take mine. There they are. Hold him up. All right, miss. Let's go. Come on.
Stop it. Let go of me.
I said, come on.
Oh.
Hey, Woody, you got a ray gun.
Now, use an iron bar and lock your door behind.
Once more, Happy. That did it.
Oh, I'm so weak I can hardly stand.
I think easy, Happy. They're probably hiding down this hallway.
I think I hear somebody in this room, sir.
I'll open the door. You cover me from the side.
Yes, sir.
Empty. Try the next one. Now, Happy, I'll continue searching the house. You go out and see if there's a back door. They may come to me.
Smoke and rockets were too late. They made it to their ship.
Their ship, nothing. Look out the window.
There are 5. They took our ship.
And we'll take theirs.
I don't think you will.
Commander, look out! Why, you... Give me that bar.
Stand back, cadet.
Oh, shoulder.
Next time it'll be your head, just like the commander got, only not so easy. All right, now take those guns.
The commander's hurt bad.
He'll be all right. Well, cadet, let's carry out the commander's order.
Huh?
You wanted to get in our ship, so pick him up. Come on, you're going to have to carry him. Morgan to North. Morgan calling North.
Nor here. What happened?
Everything worked out fine. I have 2 passengers. They're resting secured back aft.
Good work, Morgan. You blasted off without any difficulty then.
A little. Everything's fine now. What's next?
Say, if we're going to talk business, switch over to the scramble circuit.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, we'll rendezvous near the uncompleted artificial satellite.
What about our passengers?
Well, unload yours on the satellite in spacesuits and without the jetpack. Then I'll transfer to our ship.
What about the girl?
I'll leave her in pair of 5. All comfortable and secure. Except for one little thing.
All right, Corey, cadet. Get into the airlock.
You aren't going to drop us off in empty space.
If I was going to do that, I wouldn't have shut off the rocket. When you open the outer hatch, you'll step right off onto the unfinished artificial satellite, the one swinging around Venus.
What about Carol? You're going to leave her with us?
She won't be far away. Now get out. Close your helmets and step out.
I want to know what you're going to do with Carol.
You're going to get a blast of this ray gun if you don't move. I'll tell you about Carol when you're outside the ship.
There's Terra 5, sir. But why is Norr stopping it so far from the satellite?
Happy, stand clear of Morgan's ship. I think he's getting ready to blast away from the space platform.
That's right, Corey. Gonna pick up Norr and we'll be on our way.
What about Carol?
Leaving her and Terra 5 several hundred yards away. But we're leaving a time bomb in the ship with her.
What good is that going to do you?
Ship's destroyed, there'll be no chance of it being sighted by another ship. No one will look for you two on this unfinished space platform. Not for weeks.
Why can't you give Carol a chance? Put her here with us.
Would you prefer to have her go quickly instead of suffering from hunger and thirst? Besides, Norr and I like to think of you two watching, waiting for that explosion. We'll give you something to think about while you wait for your own finish.
The ship is nearly out of sight, sir.
That's the contemptible coward.
And there's Terra 5. So close, and yet it might as well be several DUs away for all we can do about it.
Commander, this is Woody Norr. It's just a final fond word of farewell.
Norr, listen. Did you really leave a bomb in our ship?
Well, you just wait and see. Hey, incidentally, I can barely hear your signal from the spacesuit transmitter. I doubt that a spaceship could hear you or reach you in time to save the girl. Oh, yeah. Don't forget to keep your magnetic boots turned on full, or you'll float off into nowhere. Goodbye, Commander. Nora.
The dirty rats. We're about as far from the regular space lanes as we could be.
Yeah, that's why the satellite is being built here.
If we only had our jetpacks. But here we are with no way of moving off this platform in a set direction. Sitting here in a scrap pile of tied-down metal, waiting for that bomb.
Happy, wait a minute. It's not a scrap pile, not to us. It's rocket fuel.
Rocket fuel? Why, it's just chunks of metal.
Uh-huh. There's a big, broad plate of endurium. That'll serve as a space raft.
Space raft?
Get busy and pile some of these scraps on the plate.
Well, sure, sir, but I don't get it.
We're going to make a man-powered rocket.
A man-powered rocket?
Remember that summer on Lake Azure when you stood up in the canoe and threw a rock at a leaping fish?
Sure. I went over backwards out of the canoe into the lake.
Exactly. You demonstrated Sir Isaac Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Sure. That's the principle that rockets and all spaceships operate on.
Right. Spaceship moves forward because molecules of fuel are forced out of the rocket engines. This big flat endurium plate is our ship. You and I are the engines, and these chunks of metal are the fuel.
Hey, I get it. We toss the chunks off our raft in the opposite direction from where we want to go.
Right, let's get busy. Don't know how much time we've got left. There. That's enough scrap metal, Happy. Get on the raft and brace yourself firmly.
Yes, sir.
Let's throw together and smoothly over a zigzag. I'll give us a start by pushing away from the satellite with my hand. Make sure your magnetic boots are firm on the raft or you'll be in trouble.
We're moving. Hey, just like pushing away from a pier in a boat.
It's not very fast, but we'll gain speed. We'll start throwing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Not going much faster.
No, but with each throw, we gain acceleration. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3.
Gee, sir. Look how close we are to the ship.
Yes, but we're not heading for the airlock. Throw off the right corner this time. That'll turn it. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that head's all right, sir.
We can stop now. The raft will coast at this velocity. We don't want to hit the ship too hard. It's going to be quite a bump as it is.
If that bomb goes off now, it's just too bad for all three of us.
Brace yourself, Happy.
Wow.
All right, open the outer hatch. Let's hurry. Quickly into the airlock. Now close it so we don't let the air out of the ship. Into the ship.
Carol, where's the bomb?
Open your faceplate, Happy. She can't hear you.
Oh, Happy.
Oh, where's the bomb?
It's in the next compartment. I've been trying to get loose from these ropes.
I'll get it. Here it is.
You want to heave it out the airlock, sir?
That won't be necessary, Happy. I'll cut off the time mechanism.
Oh, what a relief. I've been lying here expecting every second to be the last.
Now we've got to get Norr and Morgan. Do you have any idea where they're headed?
I remember Woody Norr saying something about taking part of the money to a place in Lowell City on Mars.
Do you remember where in Lowell City?
Let me see. I think I can, but I'm so upset right now.
All right, Carol, you relax. Happy now, blast off.
All right, pull the surface core up here, Morgan.
Okay. Hello, city sure looks good to me. Hey, you sure this guy can get rid of these credits for us without getting caught?
Oh, yeah. He's got a perfect setup. He spreads the stolen credits among the bank's funds. Gives us other money for the hot stuff. Less 10% for his services. Okay, let's get out of the car. I'll bring the load.
Help you with your luggage, gentlemen?
Glory.
Run for it, Morgan. Oh, no, you don't. Hey, let go. This one's for that sonic beam. If that's a gun you're reaching for, drop it. I've got Morgan, sir. Hang on to him, Happy. Get up, Noah, on your feet.
All right. Don't need me anymore.
You got off that space platform, but how? Didn't the ship explode?
No. We got to the bomb about 2 minutes before it was set to go off.
Somebody rescued you. It's impossible. There wasn't a ship near enough to get you in time. No living person could help you off that satellite.
Yeah, you're right, Noah. No living person did. But somebody did help us. One of the greatest scientists who ever lived. A man whose name was Sir Isaac Newton.
An exciting preview of next week's thrilling Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. But first,
this is your commander, Cadet Happy.
And Captain Dick Tufeld, gang. We're going to tell you how to get a pair of those sensational new Space Patrol space binoculars that you can see way off in the distance with. Now, remember, you don't have to hold these binoculars up to your eyes. You wear them on your head like outer space headgear. They're form-fitted to your eyes, and a strong elastic band holds them snugly on. Now, these are not flimsy little celluloid goggles or a mask. They're real, full-size, 4-power binoculars with 4 pure lucite lenses. Real binoculars 5 inches long, 5 inches wide, made out of solid black plastic with a bright red leather-like trimming. And when you wear them, these big, handsome space binoculars stand out from your eyes a full 3.5 inches.
Remember, these are 4-power binoculars. This means they make objects way off in the distance look 4 times closer. You can spot airplanes in the sky, boats on the water, far-off objects on land. Your space binoculars will smallify, too. Yes, sir, when you reverse them, they make things look real little and far away. Lots of fun, right, Hap?
You bet. And boy, oh boy, these binoculars have that real outer space look. Gosh, when people see you wearing your space binoculars, why, they'll think you just stepped out of a rocket ship from Mars.
Gang, send for these valuable Space Patrol space binoculars today. Without a doubt, the greatest value we have ever offered on Space Patrol. To get a pair, do this. Buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in USA and may be withdrawn at any time. If you don't think your space binoculars are really tops, return them, and the Ralston Company will refund your money without question. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol story. A strange fever, the wandering fever, has struck the planet Neptune, and people are leaving by the thousands. Happy, who's been on Neptune with the commander, has caught this strange fever and taken off alone in a spaceship. As he flies under the influence of the fever, he mutters to himself and is unable to heed the voice of Commander Corey coming over the ship's spaceophone receiver.
It's beautiful out here in space. All the planets of the solar system, the stars beyond.
Commander Corey calling Cadet Happy. Listen, Happy.
There's that voice again. Over and over. So far away. So far away.
Happy, this is urgent. Listen. The ship you're flying has no landing control unit.
Oh, why don't I go to Pluto? Yes, I'll head for Pluto.
Happy, listen to me. You're in serious danger. If you try to land that ship, you'll crash.
Be sure to be with us next Saturday for the exciting story, The Deserted Planet, when wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot Ralston again bring you Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. Space Patrol, an original Mike Moser production starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Glenn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston and directed by Larry Robertson. Other players were Ken Mayer, Virginia Hewitt, and Bela Kovach. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when wheat checks, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again presents the new, exciting Space Patrol! And be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol program on your local ABC TV station. Consult your paper for time and channel. Space Patrol comes to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.